Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the MCU crew. I nailed the intro. We did it. Guys, let's pack it up. I'll see you in a month. All right?
That was it. That's all we needed.
That's it.
Good
That's
job.
all we needed.
Good job.
I got the talk back. You guys can hear me. You hear yourself a little bit. I can now yell at Jesse. I can also just randomly listen into your. I was talking to the chat. I can now just listen into whatever you guys are talking about when you think you're muted to everyone, and I can't believe you guys were saying those things. It's really, I feel like I'm hearing conversations I shouldn't be.
No takesy backsies. I said what I said.
Okay. He said what he said.
I said what I said.
He said what he said. He said what he said. Bron's got a new camera angle. We're camera angle buddies.
Yeah. New camera angle and
that was the fakest. You have no excitement about this, Bron.
No,
yeah, you sounded like my mom when I was like, "Mom, I beat the boss in World of Warcraft today." I did. It was server first.
Good,
That's so great. Good job. You did great.
Yeah, I like worked so hard on overhauling all of this that I was excited for 2 days. And then after that, I can only just see the amount of work I did and the imperfections.
Yep.
You know, I'm just like, God, and I'm still not happy. Like the first day I was like, yay. And then I'm literally there now where I'm like, and I'm still not happy. So now I'm going to move everything again.
Welcome to my world.
Bronze, what is you've got amazing lights in the background. What does that one say?
This one?
Yeah.
This one's in Korean. It says Kwanchana, which is like, I'm okay.
Gotcha. You know what?
I'm getting by.
Sometimes we need the neon light to tell us that.
Agamotto type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you got like a whole. By the way, love the shoes in the background. Some classic kicks back there. I see.
Oh, you can see those?
Yeah.
Now she knows. Now she's got to fix it.
My
no way. I love it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a big shoe guy. I got so many. I got a closet filled with Air Force Ones. It's a problem.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
How do I not know this about you?
You're wearing good shoes.
Yeah, that's the one thing in my life that I have. I got some like killer shoes.
What? You are not a shoe guy.
I am, dude. Come to my apartment. I have nothing in my apartment but one closet. And you open the door and it's like.
Have you talked about this on the internet before?
I mean, I don't.
Is this like a private hobby that you have? The
only time I talk about it is when I try to buy something that awful Nike sneakers app because that thing is trash.
I feel like I've seen you post missed it a lot. Is it missed it
every time?
Says, like when you don't make the. I feel like that's like all I've seen you post, like missed it.
I've never won. Yeah. I got. Oh yeah, dude. I got all the colors. I got all sorts of. In fact, the ones I wore the other day, they look like Neapolitan ice cream. It's like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry shoes. I love it, dude. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I got a whole collection. I got one pair. They're like denim. I've broken those out every once. I got one pair that spikes. Those shoes I wore at your wedding were white with little spiky things.
You had shoes on at my wedding?
Hell yeah, dude.
I don't remember that.
Hell yeah.
Everyone,
not at the actual ceremony, but like the night before.
Well, how would I
think.
At the UFC thing. At the UFC thing, we were watching.
The contrast here is so great because when I came to your wedding, JP, the first thing Erin said to me was, "Oh my gosh, I love your little cowboy boots." And then she introduced me to her dad and said, "This is Jasmine. She's one of my best dressed friends." And meanwhile, you're like, "You wore shoes?"
Well, I mean, that was a joke. Everyone clearly had shoes on.
I know, but like the fact that you have no clue.
I mean, I don't know what shoes. I don't even know what shoes I was wearing. I couldn't tell you what shoes I had on that day.
I feel like
I think I just had like some black loafers on or some shit. I don't know.
In Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman says, "How often do you really look at another man's shoes?" It's a fact.
It's true.
Not often. Like, are we like nice shoes? It rarely happens.
Yeah.
Really?
Very true.
I notice people's shoes constantly. Maybe it was like all the uniforms.
Jesse's got like a shoe collection, and this is the first time I'm hearing about it, Bronze. I don't even know that he has shoes in his closet.
I always notice people's shoes. Yeah, I always notice people's shoes. People's
Does it factor
in people's hands.
Does it factor into your thoughts about a person when you see their shoes, Bronze? Are you shoe judging folk? Oh, see, I don't see shoe, Bronze. I don't see shoe. Okay.
You don't see color.
No, I don't see color. Jesus, I almost stepped into that one. We're back. Welcome. It's the MCU crew. Where Bronze tries to get me and Jesse in trouble every week.
Not getting me in trouble.
I miss y'all. Oh my God.
That's that coffee. I'm glad we had our coffee, Jesse. It was worth it.
Yeah, glad we got coffee.
It was worth it. Yeah.
Oh, anyways. What's on that mug? Is it a little gentleman?
Yeah, it's a little gentleman from the Gentleman's Gaming Club.
Oh, well. I think this is a Jacksepticeye mug. It says top of the morning.
Not that I thought that was the Eye of Sauron, but it does say top of the morning.
I think my wife.
When it was blurry, it looked like some sort of Eye of Sauron thing. And
I wish it was Eye of Sauron. We don't have any Eye of Sauron. We don't have any Lord of the Rings mugs. We have some Marvel mugs.
I don't think I do either, which is like a tragedy.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I feel like we should have. Have y'all been watching Rings of Power?
Funny enough, I have not. Yeah. I have not watched that or Lord of the Rings because I don't care what people's thoughts are comparing the two shows. Like, I'm so tired of hearing people's thoughts on like, well, this show's better than, I don't care. And I don't want to have an opinion myself because then I join that conversation.
I've been pleasantly surprised and I've been watching
Me too.
House of the Dragon and Rings of Power and everything. I went in being like, I don't know that I'm gonna like this, and everything that I've watched over the last couple of weeks, I've been like, I enjoy this, and the internet keeps telling me I shouldn't, but like,
sure, yeah,
I like this a lot. What can I say,
Jesse? You know what is blowing me away? Fucking Andor. That show is fucking phenomenal. Dude, it's like,
you know what?
I'm watching that show and I'm like, how is this a Star Wars show? Like, how is
it's almost like if you use practical effects and you like take it a little bit serious and it isn't all just nostalgia bait. You know what? It's almost like you can make good content with that franchise.
It's also, I think Diego Luna and Skarsgård are like incredible actors, and any scene that they're on, they just like destroy it and chew the fuck out of it. And the writing's also good. I said this on stream, and I'm starting to be emboldened in my statement. I think it's the best writing in Star Wars.
Yes, it
ever.
Has
across everything.
They aren't spending time coming up with fake. Like, a man said shit. That's all I like. It's all I need to know is they aren't taking time to come up with like, all right, well, we can't say shit, so let's make up a fake word. Like, they're like, no, we're just gonna have people talk to each other.
Yeah,
and like have like the Empire scheming and like all the fun. Like, that's fun. It's great. Super fun. And I tweeted about how like I was happy that it was a Star Wars show where it wasn't like all about Jedi. And someone was like, well, what's the point of Star Wars? I was like,
yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that. Get the Jedi shit out of here.
People really got like bad takes, huh?
Wait, oh God. I don't know if that's about us or if this is about the people in Jedi.
No, like people that only like Jedi stuff, or people that like, even with
bad takes.
So many shows, they have to like put in characters that are already established in the IP or whatever, and it's because, you know, they probably think otherwise nobody will care. And I'm like, that's not true, right? Like, there's that. Who are those people? And then like, I remember when I think it was Loki, like when the Disney Plus shows started coming up, and people were like, well, what impact does this have on the universe? Like, watching this show, what impact does this have on the universe? What does this have to do with anything else? And I was like, oh, those are those people. Like, if everything's not directly related to everything else, they hate it. So like, if there's a standalone show, they're just like, well, I don't have to watch this because, and it's like, you don't have to watch anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that at all. Like, did you want to watch it? It's enjoyable.
I think that's why I like Rings of Power and I can enjoy it, is because even though I like Lord of the Rings, I'm not like a Tolkien stan. I don't know like every date, and I don't know like, well, in the year 32 of the second age. Like I know enough to understand what's happening, but I'm not like, it's not like Marvel where I'm gonna sit here and be like, what is going on with that damn guy in the ocean? Right? My like buy-in is like, I just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I'm being very entertained. So, when someone's like, that's not the correct order of the timeline, I'm like, I didn't know that. And honestly, I don't care. And I'm having a fine time. And I'm enjoying, like, you know what? I like when that elf and that dwarf are buddies and they're having like a whole moment. That, and they're like, oh, that would, I was like, don't care. That's fun.
Yeah.
I like it. So, I got no problem. And I'm, having a blast. And everything seems fine to me.
How many more episodes of Rings of Power are there? Because I watched the first episode and I was like, this is cool. I like this. And then I just haven't watched anymore.
Yeah, 1 or 2. I think it's either an 8 or a 10 season. I think they just had.
We're close to them.
Was that episode 6? Maybe
it might be binge time then. Once we wrap up.
Yeah.
Once they
and
wrap
then
up.
House of the Dragon. I think the next episode is the last one, or maybe that's 10 too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's picking up and getting crazy. My mom literally has never watched a Game of Thrones anything. She figured she'd start watching House of the Dragon, which I think is very funny. And the message she sent me last night is after it ended, she said, House of the Dragons was wild. And I said, I know, I just finished watching it. It's like an episode of Jerry Springer, but with dragons. And she said, that's a good description. So
nice.
Feel positive about that.
Yeah, shout outs to Coxbomb.
Yeah, she's getting into it. She's into the sci-fi. She loves Marvel stuff. She loves weird fantasy stuff. But I think she always has.
Okay.
I think she's always been a low-key nerd.
Is that where you got it from? You just embraced it?
Oh, 100%. My mom would like watch Star Trek The Next Generation back in the day. My dad would be like, I don't want to watch this garbage. My mom would love it. Yeah.
Great.
She would be a huge fan. So
it's awesome. We should have her on the show sometime. Get her opinions on things.
Oh, she has opinions.
I want her to have a differing opinion from you and the two of you to get into it about something. That would be my dream. To just sit here with me and Bronze, like sipping coffee, and the two of you just screaming at each other about something.
I have a feeling Bronze would take my mom's side on pretty much everything. She's right. I think so.
You mean your mom have the same taste?
I feel like it. Yeah. She's just
I feel like you and me agree a lot, Jesse.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You get that vibe too? Yeah, I feel like me and Jesse agree a lot. Except like we'll be different tones of the same color. Where Jesse will be like, there were some things I didn't like, but overall it was okay. And I'm like, there were some things I didn't like. I hated it. But it's like, but we're still the same. We're still in the brown category. Just like maybe a burnt sienna versus like, a different brown.
Yeah, we're different shades. That's all.
I can't think of a different brown right now. That's where I'm at. There's one brown. It's burnt sienna.
Like, actually, there's several. I see so many shades of brown.
We can solve this right now, though, to see if
you see color, Jesse. Wow.
I do see color. Yes.
How's your mom feel about Wanda, Jesse?
Man, I'd have to go ask her.
I mean, this is right here the deciding factor on
I don't know
how Bronze
that
feels about your mom.
I don't know that she's seen the new Doctor Strange, so that'd be interesting. I don't know where she is on her catch up of stuff, because usually she waits till it's out on like Disney Plus or whatever. So I don't know. I haven't talked to her about it. I don't think she has any opinion on Wanda, which I think says a lot about Wanda. I haven't heard her like go off on Wanda, be like, no, I really like her. I hate Wanda. She hasn't said anything.
Wait, she goes off on people, on like fictional people, on stories.
She'll have opinions on things.
What's the strongest opinion you've ever heard from your mom about the MCU?
Oh, about the MCU?
Yeah.
I
not in general.
Like, I'll have to ask. Like, I will say the last really funny opinion she had was, we were watching, I think it was like either the prequels or the sequels, whatever. Well, one of the Star Wars movies. And she was like, sometimes the music's just a little over the top. She's like, nothing was happening in that scene. And they were like, boop, 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 boop.
Was it like Duel of Fates or something happening? And she's like,
this
is a little much. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I remember that. So she has opinions. Yeah.
Great. That's fantastic. That's good. Well, we got a month of stuff to cover, guys. I don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Did you guys get your tickets, by the way, for Black Panther? Because they're on sale.
No, but I saw the new trailer today, and that
I
was
haven't
fire.
watched it. I was like, I'm not going to
either.
watch this. I'm going to save it for the
I
show.
saw that there was like a lot of stuff about it trending, and I was like, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm already
Oh, I
full
didn't.
disclosure, chat, I didn't watch the newest episode of She-Hulk, so I've already didn't do my homework. So I was like, okay, let's not do my homework and cheat.
Well, we'll get to it, but the last episode actually was really good. Now that I think about it,
The last episode was good. It wasn't important in any way, but it was
the
good.
last 5 minutes were important. That's about it.
Yeah.
The last 50 seconds were important. That's about it.
Yeah. I thought it was like exactly where I thought. What I'm pleased about She-Hulk is exactly where I think it's going, and what I think is very funny to me is seeing, like, I don't want to call out any of my friends, but some people make videos on the internet where they react to things.
Okay.
And seeing their thumbnails be like, this show isn't going anywhere. And it's like, She-Hulk's not that show, though.
Yes, that's
She-Hulk
not that
from moment
show.
one was like, it's a comedy, 22-minute, half-hour goof.
Yeah.
That's the show. And they're like, it's not even connecting to the world. And I'm like,
yeah, it is.
That wasn't the conceit even from the beginning. They weren't like, this is very important. It's like, it's not important. This is a side thing for fun in the MCU. And they even make jokes about how, like, every episode they have to have some cameo where she's like, this is my show, though. Remember, it's my show.
Yeah.
Like,
or they fourth
drive me
wall
crazy.
break to she looks at the screen and says, let's roll a previously on so you remember who this person is.
So you remember who this person is? Yeah. Yes.
That was great.
Oh.
It's fantastic. I like it a lot.
I just want, yeah.
Well, let's start. I want to see this Black Panther trailer. I've heard people going crazy
Are
about
we gonna
it.
watch this right now?
Yeah. I'll throw the link in the Twitters, and I'll also throw it here so it's easy access for the two of you. Wherever you would like.
Madison. Can we just spend 45 minutes talking about Madison?
Madison's no, I think Pug is actually better than Madison, and I called that from episode 1. You can go back and watch the tape. But Madison is very good. Madison
I love
is incredible.
Madison.
Yeah. I like Pug though. Pug's very good. Anyways, let me know when you guys got it loaded up. I gotta drop the volume here and do all this stuff. Get situated.
I thought we were gonna watch it through the screen there.
Well, we got to do like the little tiny thing. The little tiny thing.
Well,
like this.
I am loaded and ready to go. 2 hours ago, man.
Yeah, it's got a lot of views too. Bronze, you good?
Almost.
Okay, no rush.
Okay,
It's
I've
4
got
hours
it.
now.
Okay. Oh, it's 4 hours. Yeah. This is what I woke up to. All right, we'll count us down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
Same.
We'll go on
Same.
start.
Mm-hmm.
Also, go buy your tickets, Jesse. You got to get your tickets ready for the show.
I don't need to do that. LA's got 12 million theaters. I can see it night 1 and be fine.
True. Okay,
Be
here
all
we
right.
go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. Oh, this is going to be emotional already. I can tell.
The art design is going to be so good in this movie.
Can be great leaders.
Whoa, that looks sick. Is that the raft? Oh, that's just like a oil refinery. Whoa.
They called him Kukul Khan, the feather serpent god.
Oh shit.
Will risk eternal war.
He's coming for the surface world.
We know what you whisper. They have lost their protector. Now is our time to strike.
Whoa. The motherfucker's flying.
Show them
Sick.
I'm really curious
That
about
looks great.
that. The lines that Umbatu's talking about
What
when
do you
he's
mean?
talking. I assume well, like the implication there is he's like, yo, if we go kill this guy, that's gonna start a whole war.
Right.
And I'm curious what that's in reaction to. Like, clearly he did something that they're like, we got to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you kill this man, it's going down. So I'm really curious what the impetus of that scene is, because that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
And so, okay, all right, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I thought that looked great.
No,
Bronze?
the first Black Panther trailer was probably like one of my favorite things I'd ever seen,
I agree.
honestly. And I will say this is the only trailer since then that has come close.
Do you mean,
and I
for
said
the
about
first
the
movie
first-
or the first
first
trailer?
movie.
Okay, for the
first movie.
Gotcha.
There was something about that trailer that was so different than everything else that was happening in the MCU at that time. Like it actually had like a different vibe. And this is, like I said, the first time since then that for me, a trailer has come close. Like the music's perfect. The way it's cut is like really dynamic. It's like on the beat. Like, I don't know. It was just really good. Like, I don't know who cut that trailer, but it was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Especially because there's a part where it goes thunk, thunk, thunk. And at that point, he's like hitting his chest. It's like so perfect. I like, that, I don't know. That was like my favorite part of it. Cause I feel like a lot of trailers now are like, Bwah, gotta stop him. Bwah. And it's like wide sweeping action shot, city being destroyed.
Right.
And I love that even the last one, they like open with a funeral. It's just, I don't know. They broke their foot off in that shit. Like,
I thought
I was like sitting enraptured. I didn't even have like an actual reaction other than just watching it because I was like,
I thought the first trailer for Black Panther 2 was like one of my favorite trailers just in general.
oh yeah.
And I this one was great. I think that this one was the trailer's definitely made to like get people to buy tickets, right? Like the things that they showed in there were like, this is all there's like an Iron Man type thing going on in here. We've got like a new Black Panther suit. Namor's got wings on his feet. And he's fucking flying through the air. And like, they showed a lot of stuff in that trailer.
I mean, I'm not sure if we got a full look, but even the Ironheart suit looks way different than I thought it would.
Yeah,
that thing looks like future. That thing looks like some sort of Protoss armor.
Yeah, so we've got like this still shot right here. That's Shuri though. Or unless
no.
I can't tell. Is that Riri?
No, that's definitely
that's Riri.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's like that.
Yeah, she looks like a Gundam.
Exists yet?
Yeah, she's like flying off right there. Who is that though up in the air, I wonder? Unless that's a plane or something? I don't know. I don't think there was a straight up shot of it though, Jesse.
Yeah,
Unless I
was checking the internet to see if there's anything that exists, but is this real?
Uh-oh. There's probably a leaked image somewhere.
This doesn't seem real.
They've
but it could be.
Leaks.
Yeah, there's this is 100% real though. Never mind. Why do I click things? It was one of those like you click it and the image only got smaller. But this could work. Here you go. This works. Nice. This is exactly what here you go. Less toy manufacturers for just spoiling everything.
Oh yeah, okay, there's a toy spoiler. Let's see it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check it out.
Looks good. Suit looks good.
Oh, weird. That is not what I expected it to look like.
Right? But it looks like it's not. It doesn't look like it's MCU. It looks like it's some other. Yeah.
That looks
like
it looks like a Gundam. Like Bronze was 100% on
That's
point.
what I was saying, Gundam. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan. But that's just because, like, I don't like that it doesn't fit with the MCU. Like, I think, like, the reasons you like it, Jesse, are the reasons I don't like it, where I'm like,
Sure.
it doesn't look like it fits in the universe, like, because the tech I don't know how to describe it, like, we've got alien tech, we've got terrestrial tech, but they all kind of still follow the same general, I don't wanna say aesthetic, but, like, they feel like they're in the world. That's what I mean. Yes, they feel like they're in the
Sure.
world. Whereas
Sure.
this feels, like, discordant
It
in
it
some way
it
because it
looks
looks
like
like a Gundam.
extremists in a lot, like extremist tech, but also
I
Yes,
not.
but I don't think extremist tech belongs in, like, the MCU because a lot of times, like, they'll take stuff from the comics and they'll change it so that it, like, fits for the movies, you know? Like, they'll redesign stuff a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
Which you
yeah.
kind of have to, you know? And this is one where I'm like, it's to me, like, even the few shots we saw, it just looks weird to me. It looks a
I
little
think
weird to me.
the reason why I like it is because they're doing a thing that I think they felt like they had to do, and I appreciate that in a way, but I feel like they're trying to keep her as far away from Tony as possible. Like, not just making another Iron Man suit, but
Yeah.
creating something vastly different.
I
So
get that.
1, it stands out, and 2, it's like it's her own thing. But 3, there's gonna be internet dudes who are like, look at him once again, trying to replace another character with a woman.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Well,
at
I'm
least this
also
stands out
curious
and it's separate.
if they still have a contract with RDJ. It's something I was, like, thinking about a lot, in terms of, like, whether or not he would be her AI, 'cause that's, like, a big part of,
Mm,
like, why I even first checked out Ironheart when the comics came out, was because she wasn't just a spiritual successor, like, the AI in the suit is based off of Tony Stark and, like,
Mm.
has his voice and his face, and I believe, like, he developed it.
Wouldn't that be
Um,
amazing though? Like if he
so I
was
was
in
like
this
yeah.
movie,
That's why I was like, "Oh, if they do that, people will, like, lose their shit." Like, if you hear, like, Tony Stark's voice one last time and, like, this is his protocol, like, "In case my demise," you know, like, "This is an AI," you know? So, I was like, "Oh, man, that's gonna, like, be insane to, like, hear his voice," and I think, like, that handoff is what's important. Like, the reason
so
mhm.
people love Batman Beyond Terry McGinnis is because he's trained by old man Batman, right? Like,
right.
I feel like that handoff could've been cool, but I don't know if RDJ
Well,
is under contract to voice that or use his appearance.
4 days
Mm.
ago at 2:35 AM, Robert Downey Jr. had a tweet that is now deleted. Uh, so he basically, it was, I got to find the exact tweet so I don't misquote it. And of course, this article is just burying it. So let's see if I can like figure out exactly where it's at. It was something along the lines of like maybe everyone doesn't stay dead or something like that because of the Wolverine stuff that happened.
Mm.
Uh, oh, he said Wolverine comes back from the dead. Dot dot dot. Sounds like a fun idea, and then he deleted it.
Interesting.
So if Braun's just called that, that's going to be hilarious. If he's like the voice of the suit, or
Or
Well,
he's,
I
like,
mean, if
training
that's
her.
the comic
'Cause
lore,
then
I feel like
people
they'd be
aren't
doing a
gonna, like
disservice of not doing that.
yeah, but it's a weird toss-up, right? Because it's one of those things where, like, it's why the Kate Bishop handoff is gonna work.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something about passing that torch. There's, of course, always gonna be people that compare and hate it, that are
mhm.
like, "No, it should be Jeremy Renner." But there's also a lot of people that are like, "Oh, this feels, like, natural, and that character, that actor I love is still involved, and now I'm understanding why that change is happening," you know?
Yeah,
Whereas I feel like if you just insert another character that's still occupying that same spot,
yeah,
I don't know, I don't feel like it works as well. Also think it's what works about Miles Morales too, is Miles didn't come in and replace Peter Parker, and then Into the Spider-Verse, like, that coexistence, I think, gets away from people's fear of, like, "Well, they got rid of my favorite character, and they just introduced this person for forced diversity," 'cause, you know, they love that word. And instead, it's like, I don't know, like, after watching Hawkeye, and, I agree that that show had issues, but I will say, like, by the end of it, I wanted, like, him to retire. He has hearing loss,
Yeah, he's
he has
got some
family to take
problems.
care of. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's fucking depressed, and he needs to process the death of his best friend, like, in
Totally.
the aftermath of that show, I was literally ow, Gomez, don't do that. But in the aftermath of that show, I was literally like, I wanted him to retire. I was like, "This man deserves a break." And I think that should be kind of how it should work. Like, if you do it well, people should want that torch to be passed, or
Yeah.
that character to have, like, a conclusion.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
also felt that way after Logan. I felt like that little girl who was playing X-23, I was like, "No, that's the future of the X-Men." Well, through snot and tears, because I was, like, sobbing by the end of that movie.
I
I had,
need to
like,
watch
held
that
it
again.
together. Oh my
I've
god,
been
I
thinking about
watched it, like,
watching it
once
again.
a year. I always hold it together until the scene where they take the cross on his grave and they turn it into the X, and for some reason,
That's such a
that
silly goof, but it works.
no, it hits, like, something in my X-Men superfan mutant brain, latent gene, and I just start sobbing every single fucking time. I
Hey, if
recently
it
had
works, it
that moment
works.
with the comic book too. It's so rare when it happens, but, like, there's a new huge event happening in the comic book universe, that involves the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals. I won't get too far into it because it's, like, really complicated and it's really long, but I do cover it on a show called Bagged and Boarded if you wanna watch it. But, like, in it, they're, like, fighting a god essentially, and Cap makes this beautiful speech about how he's like, "Listen, I've stood up to a lot of tyrants, and they were all as sure as you are that they were gonna win. But being strong isn't, about strength. Being strong is about continuing to get up every time." And at the end, he's just like, "At this point, you're all Avengers." And he looks back at, like, the X-Men and the, like, Eternal and everybody, I was like, "That's my Cap!" And then they all charge, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever read in a comic, I'm gonna scream!" And, like, it's like Nightcrawler and everybody, and they're, like, all Avengers at that point, and I was like, I get emotional just thinking about it. I was like, "This is so rare," like, those moments, it's like it happens, like, so fucking rarely, but I feel like we're gonna get that in this, I guess is what I was going towards, like, 'cause I feel like we're moving towards that moment of, like, where we're gonna have that with Wakanda, where we're gonna see, like, all the different, like, people come together, like, but I also love the take they've done on, like, Namor, and so I think my
Yeah.
thing is, this isn't gonna end with them, like, with one person winning, right? It has to end in peace or a stalemate.
There's, well, if those leaks are to be believed, uh, it ends. It's all I'm not gonna say the leaks because they're like pretty crazy if that comes true. But if it goes that direction, then I'm gonna be happy. Is all I'm gonna say. If those leaks are true, then I'm glad that's where it's headed.
I can't believe we got through a whole discussion about Old Man Logan without the fact that Professor X dropped the F-bomb, and that's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh my
I
god,
can't
not only did Professor X drop the
I gotta
F-bomb,
rewatch that
which was
movie.
amazing, but the main villain, okay, like, no one else is talking about this, but we need to talk about this. He's the Corinthian. Is no one gonna talk about this?
I don't even remember
He's
who
the
is the main
Corinthian
villain of
from
Logan. I've seen it.
Dune.
I've seen it twice, but it's been
That
that dude
guy
who's, like,
that has,
hunting
like, the
him.
metal arm, and he's, like, got the gold teeth or whatever, and
Mhm.
he's the Corinthian. So his
Yeah.
archetype is, like, sexy, hot,
oh,
evil
okay.
man? Is that his archetype?
We've learned so much
Sure.
about you right now. You're
Yeah.
like, "Look, the man's got teeth for eyes, but that is hot."
Listen, the Corinthian fucks, literally, in that show. He pulls so much ass, I cannot be the only one that's like, "Oh, that's hot evil guy." Like, it's disturbing because when his sunglasses are on, I'm like, "Oh, no."
He's definitely a smooth talking evil hot guy. Yeah.
He fucks, dude. That's literally how like, everybody says yes to him. But yeah, no one is talking about how he's the villain from from Logan.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I clocked it immediately. I hated that I clocked. I was like, as soon as it showed the Corinthian, I was like, Logan guy. Like,
I didn't know
I
that.
couldn't turn it off.
Yeah. I guess since we're covering
Put
all
one in the
the
chat if you think Corinthian is hot.
there you go. Let Bronze know. Let her know she's not alone. I assumed that we would be all over the place in this episode because there's so much to cover.
So much. We came back after a month.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I correctly took the right. I wasn't here for September.
You really did take the right month off. You said to yourself, you know what? I'm just gonna leave and like not work.
Yeah.
And here we are. Here we are.
Yeah. We could jump to the Wolverine news since we've been talking about Logan. That came out of nowhere. I was truly just gobsmacked when that occurred.
I love that they did a follow-up video too. I think that is
it's great.
You know what I can't get over? How did it not get leaked?
Yeah.
Because man, everything gets leaked now. I actually loved it because we haven't had a moment like this in a minute. Because normally it's like, yeah,
True.
we knew. Yeah, we knew this was gonna be a multiverse. Yeah, we knew this was gonna happen. Yeah, we've been known this person is cast as this, like there's not really any surprises. But this is like huge.
Oh yeah.
And somehow like nobody knew. And I was like, how did they do it? Was Hugh Jackman actually living in Ryan Reynolds' home? Like, and they like how did they do it? Because I'm telling you, like, the fact that this wasn't leaked is insane to me.
I think that they're so far out from like production starting and everything on this film that this was the type of thing where like a day before this is when he signed. Like they that's how fast it was. So they didn't even have time to leak. It just was like, we got to do something with this immediately. This is like huge fucking megaton news. Before it leaks, let's get out there. And I don't know who's in charge of Ryan Reynolds' like social media mind. I don't know if that's him or if it's someone on his team, but he always fucking nails it. Like he's always on point with everything that he does on social media. I don't know if that's just him or a team or what, but man,
if this was handled before, this would have been news at D23 for sure.
There's
no way that Disney would have like. So this clearly was put together after that, and for whatever reason, either delays or the signing took a little too long, whatever the case may be. Like, but the thing about this that's amazing is it's unexpected, but at the same time, exactly what we all expected. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. We need the Deadpool Wolverine story.
Yeah.
And everyone's waiting for it to happen. And we were just like, does the studio have the balls to make it happen? And here we are. Here we are. And I'm so grateful that they're like, yeah, we'll just bring Hugh Jackman back for that.
Did you see Hugh Jackman's gym pics?
Oh, is he ripped out of his mind still?
He said, like, what did he write? He captioned it like back at it again. And he like, because he's like been hitting the gym to get. But like what's crazy is there's an image floating around that was like hating, I don't want to say hating on, but like critiquing the MCU for thinking like for doing this to men's bodies. And that it was a photo of Hugh Jackman from the first Wolverine to now.
Oh,
and one thing that struck out to me is like, let me know if I'm the only weirdo with this. Like, wait, he used to have body hair. And then somewhere along the line, they made him shave it. And I was like, this was one of my biggest critiques of Logan is I was like, isn't Logan supposed to be a short, hairy, like Canadian man? And I was like, I can't believe like he's so glossy. But he did originally have
He had body hair in the first couple of movies, yeah.
And then somewhere along the line, some studio exec was like, wax it. And I'm like, why? Who did that? They should be fired.
I think it's the same thing where, for a while, Aurora Monroe had an accent, and then that shit disappeared.
Oh,
for a while, there was a plot line about like, yeah, I mean, I feel like originally they tried to give us
the accent.
Yeah, I feel like they tried, and they're like, none of this is working. Let's just make a movie where we sell tickets, and like, they're like, all right, let's strip this man down as much as possible and make him buff. Call it a life, and whatever, give the people what they want, I guess.
I mean, just for my own interest, how old was he when he first started as Wolverine? Was he in his
At
30s?
least 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
How old was Hugh Jackman in is
Was that
X-Men
2000?
is X-Men 1, right?
Yeah. Is X-Men 1 2000 or is that a 90s movie?
Jackman was born in 68. So the first X-Men movie was released in 2000.
July 14th,
So
2000.
he was 30 when they started shooting and 31 when it released. And so now he is 53.
Yeah.
Jesus. He's 53 and he's that like in shape and ripped. That's Hollywood's a hell
Look,
of
you
a,
should see.
a hell of a-
There's some actors that are ripped to shit and they're like 60, 70. I'm like, how?
Yeah,
How?
That's the Hollywood
Yeah.
money right there. Yeah.
Well, and some of it is like, to be honest, I understand for characters like Thor and stuff like that. Like I get some of them, but I'm not gonna lie, like I really wish they'd stop. I don't know if it would bother anybody else, but like I don't need like the insane abs types of situation because this conversation was actually floating around while you were on break, JP. Because there was like this, who was the person that was, I think, one of the artists or creators of Namor that posted a picture. Who was this person that like posted a photo of himself next to the guy playing Namor and was like, I'm more buff than Namor. And this spawned this entire conversation that Namor is not fit. And I was like,
What the fuck?
are you kidding me?
That's
Like,
kinda
I
weird.
think the actor looks great, and I
Yeah.
think this redesign is, like, such a fresh take on the character. Because otherwise,
Mhm.
he would've been a dude with a widow's peak and a thong, okay? Y'all need to understand, like, how revolutionary this design is.
He would have
And
looked
there was,
bad.
and there were, like, all these conversations. Oh, thank you so much, Jake Fortress. Mike Dadato, comic artist. Yeah, it was, like, this comic artist was, like, posting photos. It spawned this entire conversation because he's like what you're talking about, Jesse, like 50 and ripped, right? No
Mhm.
disrespect. Actually, yes, disrespect. Comparing himself to Namor and how like this is my body, this is Namor's body, and people were talking about how Namor isn't ripped. And I was like, what do you guys think fit is? I think like the MCU has created unrealistic body goals for men. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like,
But
if
that's
he's
that's
not in
Hollywood in
shape,
general in a
like,
lot of
what's
ways.
in shape?
Hollywood in
But, like
general is
but
like that.
the reason I'm picking on the MCU is, like, at one point, I feel like they weren't, but, like, in every movie, Chris Evans got more and more and more.
Jacked,
Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? In
That
every
one shot where
movie,
he's in his like
Chris
white t-shirt and
Hemsworth
it's like
got more.
ripping off his.
He's ripping the
Yeah,
log in
like
half, yeah.
Yeah.
and so, like, and same thing with, and I get that's not MCU, but same thing with Wolverine. Like, I looked at all the photos, like, every movie, he gets skinnier and buffer, and skinnier and buffer, and skinnier and buffer, and skinnier and buffer,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where I'm like, "What?" Like, that's not really, like, what people's bodies look like. That's, like, what dehydration and working out 13 hours a day looks like, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the way that they sell the superhero-ness of it, right? Like there's some heroes that definitely 100% are the shirtless heroes. And then then there are the heroes that are like, I wear a cape or
I'm
I
Doctor
am
Strange.
like you don't see Hawkeye just like constantly stripping down, or you don't see like like Bruce Banner isn't naked half the time.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting the ones they pick and choose, but it's also interesting to see the way that they handle different female characters now as well. Because there was a time where it was like, oh, is this a scene where Black Widow shows up? Ass. Ass.
Yeah, the
Right?
first
And
scene where
they
in the first scene with
yeah,
Black Widow where she like gets in the boxing ring.
she like bangs
She
the
bends over.
boxing.
Yeah. She's like boxing Tony. Yeah, I remember that.
And half that movie is her like beating guys up, and then it's like ass shot. And
Yeah.
you're like, all right. And so it's certainly interesting to see the way that they've evolved, and then also been like, at the same time, if Thor is on screen, he's naked. Like, All right,
Sure.
admittedly, none of it. I don't care about any of it. Like, if they want to make a naked Thor, cool. They want to make a naked Black Widow, cool. I don't care. Like, none of it affects me in any way. I just think it's very interesting the way that they've decided to like do it now.
Market it.
It's very
yeah.
strange. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it
Yeah,
gets
I don't-
people in the seats. That's the major
you're not
reason why.
wrong.
That's why people.
You
That's
know.
why they do
yeah.
that. Gets people
And
in the
I don't
seats.
like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with like some, I guess, like some characters being bulked out, but like for some it just doesn't even make sense, you know? Like Peter Quill, you don't even, I think, see him built most of the time. Or like somebody in my chat mentioned Camille Nanjiani. Yeah, why does Kingo need to be that shredded? Like that was like
Yeah.
so confusing to me because like none of the other Eternals have like, maybe because he's a movie star, but even then like I don't know, we never even saw his body, but yet like social media was just like prevalent with photos of a very yoked out fucking Kumail Nanjiani. And it was like, did y'all really just have him like completely transform his body to just cover it the
Yeah.
entire time? Like it was, I don't know. To me, it's like kind of strange where I'm like, I don't get it.
And maybe that's going back to what you're saying about the dude being like, I'm more fit than. Maybe that's why they do that stuff. So it's like, oh, it's a superhero, so they're super fit.
Yeah. They
And
gotta
so
have.
you can't.
You gotta have
And then when
superhuman
they-
elements to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Weird.
don't know. Especially considering if you think about the Eternals, every one of the Eternals had a different body type. And so the fact that they would be like, yeah, this guy's just ripped. But why did it need to be? His powers weren't associated with him being ripped. Like he didn't have any like magic strength powers. He didn't do anything. The man left
Mhm.
before the final fights. Like I'm still upset about that. I
Yeah.
don't know why the hell he was like, bye everyone. Like, I still think that sucked.
We won't
So,
turn this
like-
into an eternal discussion. I'm putting my foot down.
But like looking back at it, there are plenty of superheroes and they come in all shapes and sizes. And the idea that they're just the Marvel, Disney, like work them out for 5 months before the movie films, get them as fit as possible, bring them on set. It's like, okay. And like, all right.
Yeah.
I guess it's cool that they look like heroes visually, but like it's unnecessary.
I think with
I don't know.
it depends on the superhero, right? Like if Thor wasn't ripped, I wouldn't be upset, but it'd be like, this is kind of weird. Like it's a little strange.
Well, Thor is literally a god.
Yeah.
Like, and admittedly, if you're like Steve Rogers is straight up just like
he should be. He's a super
dude,
soldier.
a
Yeah.
super soldier. But you could see the body difference between Steve Rogers and Thor and Tony Stark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Tony looked like just a dude. He wasn't ripped. He was just like a rich guy
Yeah.
who
That's true.
didn't eat because he was busy machining. There's, and I'm fine with that. No one was like, Tony, look at this guy. He doesn't even have muscles. No one said that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, regardless, I think Namor looked fine. I'm excited.
Namor looks cool as shit.
I can't believe he's flying like that. It's a brain breaking moment for me to see Namor with like little feathers, like wings on his feet. He's like air dashing and like it's just wild. It's really weird to see.
I think it's a cool update.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
it's
it's a-
cool. It's just
Yeah.
wild for me to see.
Do you think that the impetus, we talked about this before, do you think it's that they flood Wakanda? And that's how
I don't know. I don't
he
know what
dies?
the initial like. It seems like they're doing like in the trailer at least that they're attacking a like oil refinery, but the way that the military is like going into attack, it seems that it's like a setup. Like the refinery was there for them to attack, and the military is like trying to capture them or something. I didn't really get why the military was going into that oil refinery as if it had already been captured. I didn't get what the story was there. And that's
I
probably
thought
because
they were already aboard because it looked like the fish people were coming to attack it.
But why would a random oil refinery just have like crazy military?
Great question. No clue whatsoever. There's a lot of like first 25 minutes of this movie that I don't think anyone truly knows yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a plot
Well,
point that we just don't have access to.
Right. Yeah, because we still don't know how they're going to handle his death. Right. Like that's still, we don't know.
And I'm telling you, M'Batu's sitting there and he's like, watch it, don't go kill that guy. So clearly he must have done something worth killing him for. So
Sure.
I imagine he's implicated in the death of T'Challa, I would think.
I think he's probably framed for it. Because there is a bad guy in the film that, you know, that people, I forget his name, but there is a like proper bad guy. And I think.
Could we end up at like, by the end, the bad guy's just like, I failed you, Lord Doom. That would be the coolest shit ever.
Hey, Jesse, you should go look at those leaks.
Don't say that.
Go.
Now I'm like, whoa! That'd be amazing. Hey, look, if Dr. Doom shows up at the end of this, that'd be the coolest shit ever.
Go read some of those leaks. If they're true, it'll be crazy. But I don't know. I think Namor's getting framed. And then I think like someone's going to convince him. Probably like Black Panther, Angela Bassett's character is going to convince him or something that like, or he's going to convince Angela Bassett. And then they're going to go it's a Tuma. Is that the bad guy's name? I think that has been floating around.
Mm-hmm.
He's also from the comics. I think that's who that is.
But like, isn't Namor also kind of an anti-hero? Like I remember him
totally.
being,
Yeah.
Like,
He's an asshole.
And I think with him being sort of like, sorry, I'm trying to find the right word. I guess like indigenous. Would it like, because a lot of times like Namor hates like surface dwellers because of shit they do to the ocean. Almost like has some stuff in common, like with poison ivy, where it's like, oh, they kind of have a point a lot of the time, you know, where it's like, oh yeah, no, you're right. So I kind of wonder if like, I think that's gonna be the common ground between like his people and Wakanda. Like I do think like they're eventually gonna like even if he does something fucked up, we're gonna find out that it's because they did something really stupid in the ocean, you know, or something really like bad because even for them to like come out like this, that has to be like a big thing too, right? Like because they haven't like I think they mentioned in the trailer something like them coming to the surface or
Yeah.
if
Like,
they mention it. It was like a passing line, but I do wonder like there's got to be some huge trespass against them for them to finally break their self-imposed sabbatical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a statue in the middle of the ocean that they could fight over. That shit's probably got some
Well,
like
and
tech they
there's
could
this
steal
scene
from.
Angela
Like that.
Bassett in court. It's the court or the UN
Yeah.
where she puts her hands out on the table and she says like, "We have lost our protector." So I do like that. There is like a court scene. It's hard to tell.
It's
It looks
probably
like
the
a court or
UN.
like it's one of the two.
Yeah.
So I think like they're gonna be like, this is your jurisdiction. You people need to handle this, or the US military will step in. And that's probably where she's like, we don't have a protector. We need your help or whatever. Because it could be maybe like they get blamed for something that they didn't do.
Yeah. That they
I think
get
it might be
framed.
the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Could
think
be.
instead of Namor getting framed, they get framed. And so they come after them. And that's why M'Batu's like, we can't just kill this guy. Otherwise, this war is going to go on forever. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Could be.
Because that's like a very like MCU thing where it's like the US military is like, y'all need to get your house in order or else we're gonna come down there with our war machine and we're gonna clean. We just need an excuse personally.
Didn't the actor who played the guy that was trying to get everyone to sign the Sokovia Accords, who's also in Hulk, didn't he pass away?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He died.
With that, I saw a rumor that Harrison Ford is going to be playing that same character.
Thunderbolt?
Yeah. General Ross.
Really? I don't.
Yeah, that was like last week or something. That it was a random ass fucking rumor, but it was on like discussing film on their Twitter, and they don't
No
usually
way.
report on
No
stuff that's
way.
like not super credible.
No way.
That'd be weird as shit.
Are they just gonna recast it and like
Well, I mean,
keep it
the guy passed
moving, or
away.
are they gonna is it gonna be a different character?
I think they'd probably just recast. I mean, he doesn't have too much of a like. If you tell the average person like, oh yeah, Thunderbolt Ross, they're gonna be like, who? Like, what?
Oh,
Sure, I
What's
guess.
that
I
guy?
mean, they did it with War Machine.
Yeah. And they just kind of said like, granted, that was a long time ago, right? The MCU was
It
much
was a very long time
Who-
ago.
smaller in that
Very long
sense.
time ago.
Who else? Hold on. This is William. Ah, okay. So I was gonna say, who else play in Hulk, the normal just Hulk movie? Sam Elliott played Thunderbolt Ross.
In the first one, or the
Yeah.
is this the Ang Lee film? Or wait, is the
Th-
Ang
this
Lee
is
film
just
the one from
normal
the MCU? I forget which one is like the proper Hulk
So-
film.
I mean, he could come back and do it. I think Harrison Ford would be fine. It'd be weird, but it's fine.
He's got the gruffness to him, but it's also Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's straight up just Harrison Ford. Like
Yeah.
William Hurt is a great actor, but also it's William Hurt can like get in where he fits in. Harrison Ford's Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford
That's
shows
like-
up on screen and people are like, oh my God, that's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's like it's like when Tom Cruise tries to pretend to be someone else. Like, oh, that's just Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise in a movie.
Yeah.
Like it's Harrison Ford. It's just Harrison Ford. It's always gonna be Harrison Ford. We just pretend that he's, Han Solo or Indiana Jones, but it's Harrison Ford.
It's Harrison Ford in all those films. Yeah, 100% correct. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see with all that. We can move on and talk about all the D23 stuff that occurred. Because one of those things is
It was a
streaming.
year ago.
Yeah, it was. It was, honestly. It was September 10th, so early September. One of those things is streaming this week, though. Werewolf by Night premieres on October
Yes.
7th. We can watch these trailers if you guys want to. It's been a hot minute since it's been 20 days since I've seen this. But
It's been 20 days.
20 days, yeah. Feels like a very long time, though, with everything that happened. Is there any sense of like hype for you guys for this? I'm like I know certain people are super hyped for Werewolf by Night. I'm not one of those people. So I don't know where you guys are. I'll watch it, obviously. But I just don't like people were always they were freaking out about Man-Thing being in there. Like he's a big character, I think, in like the multiverse ultimately or something like that. I don't know too much about him. But where do the two of you guys sit with Werewolf by Night? Are you hyped? Are you going to watch it regardless because you have to for the show? Or how are you feeling about it? Jesse's making faces.
I'm going in with no expectations. Just because, it's not something that I get to be one of those people that's like, I don't really know anything about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
People say werewolf of, I think, like World of Darkness, like so
Yeah.
it's not really like I get to go in and just
It is what
chill.
it is. To be
only
honest,
tangentially know about Werewolf by Night stuff from really, really old like Moon Knight stuff,
yeah, for me, that's my favorite place to be in the MCU. Like to have no
Ooh.
expectations and just go in and be like, let's see what this is. Let's see how this goes. Chad is screaming that Elsa Bloodstone is in this, Jesse. And so that you should immediately be interested.
Also, Elsa
Is
Bloodstone
she-
has a new comic coming out, Jesse, and I've already planned to send you a copy.
But if this show is black and white, Jesse, how will you? Oh God.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. She's on the cover. She's got the red ponytail and everything.
Yeah, how are you going to know
my
she's a
God.
redhead in the show, Jesse? If the film
I was
is
going to
black and
ask.
white?
I was going to say, if it's in black and white, did they even bother casting a redhead? Does it matter?
I don't know.
It matters to me.
I don't know.
Jesse Cox.
I mean, we could see who is playing Elsa Bloodstone.
We did find this casting a while ago.
Laura Donnelly.
I don't know
Yes.
Laura Donnelly.
Well, in this image that I'm looking at, she does have Oh, she was in the Nevers, that HBO show that was actually kind of sick. I don't know if you watched that.
No.
She had black hair in the Nevers. I don't obviously you can
All
dye
of her
hair.
photos are black hair, so
Yeah.
I don't think it particularly matters in this case if it's black and white. It's like not a thing that's
she has
important.
some red, like in this, at least in the header of this, the cosmiccircus.com website. She's got red hair. I don't know what film that was from, but she's in there at least. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
like,
I didn't know
cool.
that at all.
Yeah.
How many episodes is this Werewolf by Night thing?
Isn't it just
It's short, I want to say.
Yeah, it's like a really short thing. I thought it was one episode.
Is it just one?
I thought it was like an hour-long thing.
I'm looking at chat to see if there's confirmation. Chat is saying it's a movie, isn't it? It's one special. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, it's one special.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can watch that. Talk about it next week then. Man Thing's supposed to be in that. There's a werewolf. We got Elsa Bloodstone. I don't know anything else apart from that. And it's also got some style, right? Like it's a, I think the whole thing is black and white. So it'll be cool to check out. Because like I said, I love going into Marvel stuff like this where I actually don't know anything. Except for people who are very excited about it. That's all I know. Hopefully it starts the whole like Blade thing. Because Blade news, did you guys see this stuff?
Yes.
The director has left the film. Apparently the script is very, 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 very short. And
90 pages.
Mahershala Ali is very upset with where the film is at the moment. And that's
sounds right.
That's supposed to come out in 2024, 2025, I think. It's right around the corner. So they are probably scrambling to figure out what that film does, what it turns into. Because we all got to see Dracula on a spaceship on the moon, right? That's where we're headed. We got to check
dream.
it out.
That's the dream.
Yeah. And people teaming up together. Moon Knight showing up. That's the dream. To see how all that goes.
I don't know. Like it's sad because there's like so many freaking like that's not good.
No, it's
It's
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
The script is kind of like the first thing you need to have right. I
It's
was
the
actually
Bible,
just talking
yeah.
about this yesterday because we were discussing like how sometimes like what the difference is between like saying, oh, it took us 10 years to make this show versus, oh, this show is like 10 years in production, right? Because like one of those is okay. Because I mean, and Jesse, you get this a lot, I'm sure, just like I do. Like pre-production before you even start making something is sometimes the longest part of something. So like Arcane was there for a while, and that's like getting the script right. And Neil Gaiman recently tweeted about this too with The Dreaming, that like he read some pretty fucking horrible scripts. And so like that's like where you start with something, is shopping around, trying to get the best script for something. And then once that gets greenlit, you go into casting it into production, right? But the production, like once the production starts, things should go smooth, right? So
Yeah.
like going into that and still having script changes is almost never good. It's I don't like movies where we've had this happen. It's just about never freaking worked out, because what ends up happening is they've invested a ton of money into recording some footage, right? And they don't want to throw that out, but then they have to make all these narrative changes, but they can't throw out the old footage. And I think like that's what didn't work with the
Yeah.
Captain America Winter Soldier like show, is like massive rewrites because of COVID, which made sense. But they still have to make their old footage work. They can't do all the reshoots, but then they have to make the new footage work. And what ends up happening is you have a show that like doesn't have a single through line, if that makes sense. And
Right.
you can tell like the Flag Smashers fucking suck, dude. Like they're
Yeah, they do.
so horrible.
They're
They
really
make
bad.
no sense. Like they're just, it's so bad. And then when you know, oh well, there was basically a pandemic storyline and they had to cut all of that and rewrite it halfway into production because COVID happened, then it's like, Oh, that makes sense. So they were using a bunch of old footage and having to rewrite a bunch of new stuff to make it fit. And so you go from having this character that's kind of sympathetic to a character that's just blowing shit up and has no narrative weight,
Yeah.
you know? I would hate to see that happen with Blade, but if like the script is super short and people are leaving the project and Mahershala Ali is unhappy, like no one wants to be on a project that you know is going to be bad.
Right.
It's never a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
It seems crazy to me that, like, at its core, Blade, unlike many properties in the comic book world, is so simple. Not to execute, but just like what it is. If you stick to the core of what it is, it's simple. It shouldn't be convoluted. It's literally a day-walking vampire who kills vampires, period. That's it. And from that, it does. After that, like, doesn't matter what you do to it. Just have fun. And I feel like they're gonna do the Marvel thing where they try to like add shit. And it's
Well,
like, just
it's
keep
funny.
it simple, stupid.
I was thinking the exact opposite, Jesse.
Really?
Only because like what I feel like what they're trying to do is the complete opposite of what those original films were or did. Like Wesley Snipes is great in those films. Mahershala Ali is an incredible actor. Like in a lot of ways, too good of an actor to play a character like Blade in my eyes. Like he's insanely talented. Blade, like you just said, is very simple.
Sure.
And so how do you take like Mahershala Ali's skill set, apply that to Blade, and make all of that fit into the MCU at large? That's why it's convoluted.
I would push back and say the greatest challenge an actor can have, a good actor, is playing someone so simple while still bringing across all of their acting acumen and charm to put like like a layer underneath that. So you can have like, oh, it's a simple character who's like, I'm a badass and like always been on black or whatever the hell he's gonna say. and then like, but also include some like gravitas to that character more than just like, I'm an action star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that would be amazing. I think it comes down to what the scenario is. You know what I mean? Like
what
were they gonna have Blade do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also true of like, do you bring out Dracula into the MCU in the first Blade film, or is that like the villain behind the scenes situation? Also, I've said this from day one. I have not changed my stance on this. How the fuck do you bring vampires into the MCU? They had to joke about it in She-Hulk. They had to say, this guy thinks he's a vampire. And he was awesome. But he was completely over the top because it's such a goofy fucking thing for me. And I think a lot of people to like wrap your head around like, yeah, that guy's a vampire.
It was a great moment because it's clearly in the middle of the afternoon and this guy's like, he thinks he's a vampire. Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I was like, oh, Daywalker.
Well, I think he's also a Daywalker in the comics, is he not? Like, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. We'll see, right? Like they got to do something fast. Someone in chat said that Spike Lee is on the list of directors that they are currently discussing coming to the film with. I think that would be awesome.
That'd be a hell of a take.
Yeah, that'd be a great
only
name.
For science, I would love to see Spike Lee's version of that character in that story.
Totally. I'd love Spike Lee in the MCU. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if only for science, I'd love to see what the hell that ended up being like. That could be crazy. That could be fun.
That'd be awesome. But we will see. We will see. What else was there? D23 had so much stuff. We had the Werewolf by Night. We had the Secret Invasion trailer, which I thought was fucking awesome. I'm very excited for that show. I love a spy thriller. I love Samuel L. Jackson, and everything about that film everything about that show seems great.
Did you see the I guess they didn't release it to public, but it's out there. The Quantumania.
Yeah. That leaked. That trailer straight leaked like 2 or 3 days ago.
Let me just say, you know what? They did the Kang casting
Jonathan Majors is a hell of an actor.
Like, from what I hear, there's gonna be multiple Kangs, and Jonathan Majors is gonna be all of them.
Yep.
And he's gonna have the exact same, like, we got the really goofy version in Loki, and the version we see in the leak trailer is like serious as shit and like very well acted. Like when look, I'm not, no spoilers, but the man is on screen in this trailer thing for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. Already a like Avengers level threat. This guy is like out of control. I was like, woo!
No, yeah, Jonathan Majors is gonna kill it. And
He is.
like, because Kang is a very complex character. I mean,
Yeah.
Thanos was too. And I do think like we got a really great Thanos, but like
I agree.
what sucks about getting a really great Thanos is like, oh, how do you follow that up? And in this phase, they just didn't.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. Sorry, I'm still bitter about that. But it's exciting
right,
to
though.
have
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors, because even when we got that like sort of scene in Loki of like He Who Remains, the cool thing about Kang is that like Kang kind of hates himself and he's his own worst enemy too, right? Like he's
Yeah.
constantly trying to outmaneuver himself.
Different versions of
And
himself are trying to outmaneuver
yeah,
himself. Yeah.
yeah. The comic I'm reading right now is like crazy because it's a child version of Kang that's being trained by an adult version of Kang, and the child version hates the fucking adult because the adult is an asshole. But he's like, listen, I've got to train you to be better than the other Kangs, and these are the rules. And then the child version of Kang betrays and strands the adult version of Kang in a dinosaur dimension and makes off with his suit.
Sick. That sounds like a hell of a
And I was
comic.
like, only in a Kang comic would Kang be Kang's own enemy. Like, but also there's like a lot of Doctor Doom stuff in there too. But like playing that type of a character is very difficult. But he already sold it to us in Loki because of the way he talks about himself, where he's like, "You guys realize you're lucky you have me, right? Like, I'm a dickhead. Like, thus I have orchestrated an event where I control time. Because if it was the other me, you guys would be in for it." So like having that foreshadowing, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Jonathan Majors play the version of himself that he warned the audience about, where he's like,
Yo,
realize
Dude,
I'm not in charge.
Did you see the trailer, Bronze?
Go find this leak. It is
It's
like
incredible.
I'm gonna look it up.
He is exactly what you're talking about. Like the dude who shows up, you're like, oh, this is Kang. And
Dude,
so I'm really excited to see more of that.
He's straight up. It's a great juxtaposition that they've created too, because like Paul Rudd in Ant-Man is it's Ant-Man. He's like He's got like quips and he's goofy and he's looking at who he doesn't know is Kang, and I don't know if he knows Kang even exists at that point.
He doesn't even say. He doesn't even say it's him.
And he just goes like, I'm Ant-Man, I'm an Avenger. And he says it kind of like in a Paul Rudd way. And then Jonathan Majors kind of like walks into screen. He just goes like, have I killed you before? And you're like, oh, fuck.
It's so good. He just like
shit.
looks at him. He's like an Avenger. Have I killed you before? And it's like,
yeah. You're like, oh, shit. This
yeah,
man's
dude,
gonna
I'm so
fucking
excited.
destroy
I
some-
love that.
I love this. Yeah. The whole trailer, they need to just put that out now that it's basically leaked.
And what makes that so good is it takes the nonsense that we saw in Multiverse of Madness and adds that, like, look, you might be an Avenger in this reality who's like doing your thing, but in other realities, you're probably dead 1,000 times over. And like this Kang guy has been like, oh yeah, no, I kill all y'all. Don't worry about it. I kill so many Avengers. I don't remember if I killed you specifically.
Yeah.
That's fire. Now that's a good bad guy. I'm like,
so cool. I can't wait to get to the point in the MCU where we have the villains beating each other up. Like, I can't wait until we get there, because that's like my favorite part in the comics is like when they're like, shit, we need to beat this version, the cosmic infused version of Tony Stark, and they're like, all right, I know somebody, and they go ask Doctor Doom for help. Like, I can't wait till we get to like the Hannibal Lecter phase where they're like, there's this guy named Doom. Kang, we need you to help, and Kang is like, I know, like when they start letting their own villains out of jail to punch their other villains, that's my favorite part of comic books, and we haven't gotten there.
Well,
I
In
think it'll
MCU.
actually be reverse, right? Like,
Yeah.
the
you
idea
think
of
the
Doom being
Avengers are
like,
going to
"I'll
get
totally
people?
help you stop Kang,"
Yeah.
right? And that's like, I would love that if Doom is like, "Don't worry, I'll help you. It's no big deal. I'll help save the world." And he's like,
Well, I
like
had
that
a
should be
very
great.
spicy take that I got some flack for it because I guess people think I hate people of color, but because I was like, instead of Ironheart, we should put the Iron Man character on ice for a while, introduce Doom because there's a version of Doom called the Superior Iron Man where Doom is Iron Man. Y'all, Doom is so good as Iron Man. You need to understand.
Yeah.
It's like such a cool fucking character that I'm like, they should introduce Doom, like set up this the superior Iron Man arc, and run it that way because and then we can do Ironheart in the future because I just thought that would have been so freaking dope.
I
But
I think we have to
that would
get
also require 6 years of setup.
yeah. You were talking about like you can't wait for the villains to start having to fight each other. I think we're pretty close to like having a anti-hero slash villain MCU film. Like that, we're gonna get one pretty soon, right? There's a bunch of
We'll
unannounced
see.
films and like phase
I would watch
6
a
or
show
whatever.
with Jonathan Majors defeating himself.
Like an Iron Lad show.
Yeah, like I would watch it. I think it would
Well,
be fire.
I guess we'll have to
Thunderbolts
see what
kinda
Loki season 2 is, right? Because Loki
true.
season 2 is straight up, they're going all in on Kang. So
Yeah. Yeah. We could
we have
see
what's her
so many
face? I can't remember her
versions.
name. The Justice Judge, whatever her name was.
Oh yeah, I forgot her
the
name.
she ran off to go like find Kang or something. I don't know. And so I have a feeling Loki season 2 will
Morgana?
be yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Loki season 2 will be like pretty cool.
Well, I mean, we've been inching towards it, and every time we've come close, people have loved it, right? Like because
Yeah.
the stuff with Zemo went viral on the internet.
But give
Because
him
it's
his own
very
show.
clear that if you look the other way, he will fuck you over, and like that idea of
Mhm.
like he's still somewhat of like a viable threat, right? Um, and so I'm interested in like seeing that kind of play out with like characters that have even more power,
Yeah.
right? Like, the idea of like, oh, we have to defeat a celestial, so we have to let Doctor Doom, or we have to help Doctor Doom, knowing full and well he's gonna kill the celestial and then try to kill you. And it's like, okay, well, we'll deal with that problem later.
Yeah.
So I think like Kang is gonna be such a cool. I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is like Marvel always kills their villains, and it really pisses me off.
Kills the big bads for sure. Yeah.
Every time, like even like, and I'm so happy now we have a multiverse, so like we can bring back characters like Killmonger, but like that did kind of like irk me, like, or I was like,
Right.
what, like,
Yeah.
why would you just fucking kill him, you idiots? Like, I was just like, you should bring him back.
Yeah.
And, because like it could that I'll never get over it that like because I was just like so ridiculous to me. And now that we have a multiverse, hopefully we can have a Killmonger as Black Panther version or something like that. But they've done it, and I said that even after the last Thor movie, because I was just like, they did it again. Like I was so mad. I was like, they always do it. Like every time they do it, and it's so upsetting that they just. So my fear is like, don't fucking kill Kang, please. My fucking God, just like please don't do that. Like,
One of the
and don't do
yeah,
it
like I mean they will.
bad.
They 100% will at the end of the whatever the second
phase.
Avengers movie is.
Yeah. Secret
Because
Wars.
they literally are like Avengers multiverse thing, and then like Avengers.
Well, it's like Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll 100%. There will be he will be dead by the end of like phase
Well,
7 or whatever.
It's an interesting problem though, because like, which Kang is the bad Kang? Like the big bad Kang, because it's multiverse. So, do they close the multiverse at the end of that? Is that because that's like how you defeat Kang, right? Like you close the multiverse to everything.
When is Secret Wars?
Secret Wars is Secret Invasion or Secret Wars? Secret Wars is the end of
Secret
phase
Wars.
7.
So
I think. We're a ways out. 2026, 27, something like that.
I can't. My God, I can't believe this. This is so funny. I went to go look up Secret Wars to find information, and the writer for Secret Wars is my boy Michael Waldron back again.
He's back.
I can't believe this man came out of nowhere and now is writing every Marvel movie, blowing my mind.
Crushing it.
Good on him. Good on him. Wow.
Did you have were you trying to make a point with where?
No, I was trying to figure out when Secret Wars comes out in relation to the other two, because
I think it's the end of them all. It's like the final, isn't it? It's after the Avengers stuff.
If that's the case, I go back to my theory. What if Doom is like, I can help you, and then Doom creates like what is that, Battle World, whatever the case, that where like everyone's on the same planet from all the multiple realities. And then I think that could be fun. That could be a fun, like, so it's phase 8 is we're all stuck in one reality together.
So we've got Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024. And then Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, May 2nd, 2025. And then November 7th, 2025 is Avengers Secret Wars. And that's the final thing that they've announced at the end of phase 6.
So is it possible that after Kang Dynasty, Kang, like, brings everyone together from the multiverse, and the Secret Wars movie is like everyone from all of the things that you love in one movie together?
I saw a handful of theories saying that it's going to be like literally all of the X-Men that we've ever seen in film, all of the Spider-Mans that we've ever, like everyone.
That's so
everyone
much.
together, because yeah, but I feel like that's what they're going to do, because it's like, how do you top Endgame? Well, you gotta, you
get everyone.
have everyone from every universe fighting Kang. But the real like villain of that movie should be Doom. You know what I mean? Where he's he's like, like, we gotta fight Kang, and Doom's like, yeah, fight Kang. Like that shit, like that'd be amazing.
They need to give Doom his own movie. We've talked about that before, but like Doom should be the first villain film that we get.
If they're smart, they should spend all of the next couple phases like hyping up Doom, and then like have Doom show up in that movie and then it's like, oh, we saved the world, and Doom's like, yeah, you saved the world. And then the next X number of phases is like, that's the next bad guy. That's the next big bad. Is this guy who's just like, I've been playing you all for years, you big idiots. Like that'd be amazing.
The most like, okay, so like the new event that's happening in Marvel right now, Judgment, like there's it's called Judgment because there's in the comics. It's called Judgment because there's like this giant god that they make to replace the Eternals god. It's a very long story, but like he's judging all of humanity. And if they pass, then the world gets to live, and if they fail, then the world fails. And he's going around casting judgment on the different superheroes. So like they show he appears to them as like something they would recognize. So like he shows up to Miles Morales as Peter Parker and gives him a thumbs up, and Miles is like, okay, thumbs up. And it's like he just goes around thumbs upping and thumbs downing people and testing them.
Yeah.
And he appears to Dr. Doom and he says, to pass your test, it is simple. You must merely state that Reed Richards is smarter than you. And Doom starts laughing and just walks away. And the Celestial is like, you pass. And I was like, what the fuck? And like, that's like, and like, that's the type of, this is such a stupid thing, but that's the type of energy I want from Doom in the MCU, where it's like a Celestial, like a fucking god shows up and just says like, yo, is Reed Richards smarter than you? He's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
This is a joke. Reed Richards is a joke. These people you're a fucking joke. And the Celestial's like, okay, he called my bluff. Yeah, you pass.
That's big Doom energy there.
Comic, Dr. Doom passes and Captain America fails. So at some point, like Tony Stark is like, what is the criteria here? Like the fucking Boy Scout failed. Like we're fucked. We're all gonna die.
I
yeah.
absolutely
energy.
love that energy, and I think Doctor Doom, like whoever they cast, that's the key. I don't care.
It's gonna
Face
be
doesn't
hard.
matter.
Yeah.
It's all about persona, charisma, gravitas. It's whoever is behind the mask, like voice, inflection, that kind of
Yes.
thing. Like
Yeah.
I want Doctor Doom is a piece of shit asshole that you like love.
Yes. Yes. You need like a Rutger Hauer. You need like that type of um
Yeah.
you need that gravitas. You really do. I remember being very disappointed that they cast Mads Mikkelsen in Doctor Strange because he was
Yeah.
my fan cast for Doom. He really was. When I saw him in Doctor Strange, and once again, it's another villain they just straight up get rid of, I think, like way too quickly. I was like, how do you waste Mads? Like, because to me,
Right.
that was like a minor character. I get that he's like, I guess, a villain in an MCU film, so it's not that minor. But to me, that was my fan cast for Doom. Because there's just few actors that can do that, I think.
Yeah.
But then again,
It'll be
I
tough.
thought Kang was gonna be one of the hardest things to play, and Jonathan Majors is like killing
killing
it.
it.
Can't
Well,
wait.
Killing it.
look, the best thing the MCU has ever done is found the correct casting director. I forget her name off the top of my head. I want to say Sarah something or other, but like as far as I'm concerned, she can do no wrong, and she is like Kevin Feige is like obviously king, she's queen, right? Like she is just destroying
Mhm.
when it comes to casting everyone. So I have faith in her to find the right person for that, and for the teams, her teams, to help her find the right person for that. We'll just have to see who it
Yeah.
is.
And also, I think the hardest part about the casting is it needs to be someone that can play age appropriate across from Reed Richards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they have to plan that out as well. Because he can't be like much older than Reed or younger than Reed. They have to be like peers on a competitive sense.
Yeah.
And so
Doom has no peer.
I hope his voice isn't like that as well. I hope his voice isn't like what we know Doctor Doom to like be so far. Because it is what Bronze just did. That's what Doom sounds like. That's what he sounds like. It's kind of goofy.
The problem is that all the actors I can think of are so stereotyped into being that role anyway.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like even when Giancarlo Esposito was talking about like doing
Doom.
roles and like he can only be the like scheming corporate overlord
so many times
guy in so many things. You know what I mean? Like he is so completely typecast.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
My fan casting still
out of nowhere.
My fan casting still John Hamm, but I don't really care who gets it.
John Hamm. You know what? I could see him doing, but he doesn't have like. I can't see him doing an accent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the other thing
he'd
too
be
is
John Hamm behind the mask.
The other thing too is that John Hamm is like too attractive to keep a mask on the entire time. So,
but I feel
that
like
would make it better. Like
to never,
Doctor Doom, it's like a big part, right, of his character. So like him being attractive in flashbacks or stuff like that, or if we see like a Doom origin story, like that's gonna make more sense why he goes off the rails with his face being fucked up.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Or the other thing is Ham could also just be Mr. Sinister, and that would be fine as well.
You've been watching Edge Runners, right?
Me?
No, as Jesse.
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
have
I
you both
finished it.
I finished it. Yeah, I'm done with it.
Okay, I'm like 2 episodes away from finishing it. But to add your point,
How did
yeah,
you
like
stop? What the fuck?
Giancarlo Esposito, like I clocked his voice immediately because exactly what you said. I was like, oh,
yeah.
like,
yeah.
Like even in animated form,
it was very much like, God damn it, Gus! Like, what the fuck are you? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like even in animated form, like it's kind of.
What's crazy is that I've seen him in other before he went full Gus. I've seen him in other movies and things where he's just like a guy.
Just
he's like being an actor, and then like all of Hollywood, they were like, "That's a guy that can play that character. Let's use him until he's used up."
He was so good as Gus. Like I don't blame Hollywood.
Yeah. And they were like, "Put him in The Boys. Put him in but it's the same character, really." And that Hollywood does that all the time. It's so upsetting.
He gets a pass from The Boys. He doesn't get a pass from his character in Mandalorian because I felt like that was like too typecast.
Oh, he's still in
But
Mando, but yeah, you're kind of right.
yeah, I feel like they've like decided there's like a box he fits into. But I'll say like in The Boys, especially like this last season, like his face to face with
He's just
Homelander, I
Gus.
was like, yeah, I know. But there's so few people that can like match Anthony Starr's like raw like intensity
Yeah.
on camera. Like I don't know what that dude is on, but he has like some like just like intensity when he's on camera that I think will blow most people away. And Giancarlo Esposito is one of the few people that I will admit has the gravitas to like stand next to him on camera and not get enveloped, you know? And that's hard because there's just some actors that like have that where like when they're on camera, they just like it's like nobody else is there. They're just like soaking up all of it. You
Yeah.
know?
Giancarlo has the exact same and it makes sense because they were in the same show, but he has the exact same sort of like intensity level as Bryan Cranston, where it's like when they show up to do a scene, you're gonna be like, damn, that you were in that moment. And yeah, they're incredible actors. I just think that the poor man keeps getting typecast as the one thing. And I've definitely seen him in other stuff. And so I think absolutely in Hollywood, they would be like, well, of course, he'd be a perfect Doom. But I think Marvel doesn't do that. Marvel is like, we're going to cast someone that you did not expect to be this character.
And it's always correct.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I
they've
trust.
nailed it so far. So.
Sarah Finn is her name. That's done all the casting since, I want to say since like Iron Man. She's been there for a super, super long time. I don't want to get too far in the weeds on Better Call Saul, but the final episode or two, the final scene with Gus in it, incredible. That's where I'm just like, oh yeah, Giancarlo is incredible. And then the final scene with Bryan Cranston in it, where he's talking to Better Call Saul, that scene was just like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit, Bryan, you're incredible actor. Can't believe I forgot that you were this talented. So anyone from those shows can just pop into the MCU whenever they want. They can just take any role they want, as far as I'm concerned.
I think when it comes to intensity, the one where I would pass out and die is if Cillian Murphy was in the MCU.
I'm trying to think who he would play. Yeah, I don't. He's like
I don't know who he would be. That would be the one where I was like, well, somebody call Bronson.
He's like such a unique look and actor. I don't know who you could play.
Dracula.
It'd have to be someone like that.
Dracula. Yeah, if he was like Mephisto, that'd be fun.
Nightmare.
You have to be one of like the darker, like like one of the evil characters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Nightcrawler. He seems like he probably skewed too old for Nightcrawler, but like, I can see that.
Morph would be kind of cool. He'd be a good Morph, especially if he just says the same things over and over from the X-Men animated series.
I would hate to see him do that laugh. Yeah. Come on, everybody! Like, shut up.
I hate this.
Shut up.
I freaking hate this.
He'd be an okay Magneto too. In just terms of the look, I don't know if he could I don't know if he has the gravitas. Like if he can walk into a room and just be the center of attention. He might be able to do it. He's done it a couple times in Peaky Blinders. Yeah, we're talking about Scarecrow guy or Peaky Blinders guy.
Yeah, he was so good at Scarecrow though. He was so good. I was gonna say like I think one of the things I like to add on what you're saying, like they choose or they cast who you weren't expecting in MCU stuff. Yeah. I think like that's what has worked with Batman is like not doing the same version of the character, but like choosing a different one each and every time, if that makes sense. So like, cause that's what I really liked about this new Batman movie. Like, I was like, oh yeah, this is a very, I don't know how to describe it, but like, it's a different, like Robert Pattinson's take on Batman. Did I freeze? Oh no, you guys are just quiet.
No, I'm listening. We listen when you speak.
Robert Pattinson's take on Batman is really different than, and I get that people like it can be bad, right? Because like people have Batmans they love and Batmans they hate, but you can't say any two are the same. And so I do think like you're right, and we're gonna have to get a Doom that's not necessarily comic book Doom or the Doom we've seen before, because I don't know like if it would work.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. We'll have to see. To keep along the D23 chain, we got a Fantastic Four director, and that was all. We didn't get any cast. It's going to be WandaVision director Matt Shackman. It's going to be taking over that film. So, you know, it should be fine. Casting, I think, if anything, would be the more excitement stuff. But
Yeah.
I think we're just far out. They've got a lot of other stuff that they're trying to like. Although they did just announce Wolverine is back, like huge. So I don't know. Maybe they don't have it figured out. I don't think they figured it out yet.
As much as I want to say that directing matters in movie making, in the MCU, I'm not so sure that that's accurate.
It's such a like
Marvel films.
Yeah, there's
have
so
like
many people.
Yeah, there's like a standardized what it needs to be in every Marvel film. I understand why people are like, "Oh, the Marvel movies, they're the same." Like, I get it because everything seems so standardized of like, this is how we make this
Direct
shot.
by
We
committee.
can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you can see the few times the directors had full reign, it like sometimes goes a little off the rails from what we're used to. And then people are like, I didn't like it. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Armor Wars got turned into a full movie instead of a Disney Plus series, which is great.
Great.
That looks cool. Captain America: The New World Order. We got a bunch of information about that. Anthony Mackie will obviously be returning as Sam Wilson, as well as Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley and Danny Ramirez, who were both in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Danny Ramirez is going to be playing the new Falcon, I believe, as he was kind of shown to be in the series. And it also says Tim Blake Nelson joined the cast as Dr. Samuel Stearns, who's reprising his role from 2008's The Incredible Hulk. What is that?
Oh, that's what's his face. That's the
scientist guy that creates the super soldier
name?
serum.
That's the dude who like becomes the
Oh, that's the leader. That's the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the leader. Okay. Yeah, that crazy looking guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Buster Scruggs, the leader. Buster Scruggs.
It's all Buster
his
Scruggs.
beautiful ballad.
Yeah. So he'll be in there. Thunderbolt got full casting. It will include David Harbour as the Red Guardian. Ghost is back, played by actress Hannah John Kamen. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is playing Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, as we've seen. And that was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? That's where we first saw her?
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of it, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bucky Barnes will be there, old Sebastian Stan. Wyatt Russell will once again be returning as John Walker / U.S. agent. And Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova.
Isn't Taskmaster also in it?
It wasn't in this Marvel.com post, but maybe.
I think she was in the poster.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds right to me. Kind of sad that what's his name's not there.
Right?
Daniel whatever his name. I'm blanking on his name. Is it Daniel Brew? The actor that played I'm just complete. No, Zemo. The actor that played Zemo. Isn't his name Daniel?
Yeah, no Zemo.
Brule. Yeah. I wonder why no Zemo. I wonder why he's not involved then.
Look, I thought for sure Abomination is going to be in it. Clearly not.
Yeah. I mean, they're using who they have already.
Sure, I get it. I just figured Abomination's here, right? Like, if you're going to make the anti-Avengers, you would have your Hulk.
Yeah. I just want to see Zemo and Yelena interact. I think that's a fascinating thing.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Bronze, do you have any idea who the Thunderbolts, like at least comic book lore wise, who they fight initially? Like who they like group up to defeat?
I've never read a Thunderbolts comic.
Okay.
I think I read like few that tied in because Elektra is a part of the Thunderbolts. So I think I read some of that run, but I never liked it as much as like Suicide Squad Sorry, I like DC Comics a lot. So I was like, no, this is like kind of a toned down version of that. So I never got super into
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
The new Midnight Suns comic, though.
Oh, is it crushing?
I love it.
Okay. Apparently,
But
they
I
just fight
think
whoever the
anytime you
government tells
put-
them to.
If you put Blade and Wolverine in something, I'm gonna like it. But yeah, I don't read all the team up comics.
Got
Sometimes
it.
there's just too many moving parts for me.
Got it. Jesse, what'd you look up? You're reading something. I can see those eyes glazing
I just
over.
wanted to see, I just want to see about Zemo because I'm really curious. And literally the first thing I saw was, and I just want to point this out. This is the worst take I've ever seen. I'm not even going to open the article, but it says why Zemo doesn't need to return to the MCU's future. Already
that.
hate that article.
What?
Already
ban
hate
that
everything
person.
about
That
it.
person can't. That's not. They can't write anymore. Where I'm taking their
People-
writing card.
That don't understand how important Zemo is. Don't know, like haven't read Punisher comics, and it shows. I am waiting for Bernthal and Zemo. It's gonna happen.
True.
It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna have the purple hood. It's gonna be there's gonna be a Daredevil in there, and it's gonna be a Daredevil Punisher Zemo thing. It's gonna be great. Y'all don't know it yet, but I've spoken it into existence. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's gonna happen.
All right. It's out
It's
there.
gonna happen.
Of course,
Okay.
Loki season 2, which we talked about. They have a new cast member, and I will absolutely butcher his name, so I apologize. Hui Kwan, maybe. He's from. I want to say he was in. He was the kid in Indiana Jones, wasn't he? In
Short round?
yeah, isn't it that actor? I think it's him. I think that's yeah. Yep. Chat saying yes, that's him. So he's back after I don't know how many 30 years or 40 years, something
Maybe.
like
We know
that.
that he's back. What if he's just been acting the entire time?
Has he? I don't know. I don't know. This is the first time I've. Oh, he was back in everything, everywhere, all at once, which I've not seen, but I've heard it's great. Obviously, that was when he came back. Bronze. He was a stunt man before that.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, wow. Okay.
apparently he's
Cool.
really good in that movie. Apparently everyone in that movie is good. I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
yeah. Wow. Look, this man had a history of great films. Indiana Jones, obviously. The Goonies, yes. Encino Man,
Oh, crushing.
winner.
Yo, that's
winner.
different filmography.
Crushing. Yeah.
That's the
That's
one
happening.
with Brendan Fraser, right?
Yep.
Yes, he's a caveman.
It's Caveman.
And it's got
Yeah,
what's his
where
face?
he's
He's
Pauly
like,
Shore.
yeah,
Pauly Shore's in
Frozen.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
No,
great
that
movie.
was good. I
Sean
really liked that
Astin,
movie.
it's a good film.
Yeah, that was a
so
good
just
movie.
really quickly,
Yep.
because the internet is just the best. Even though there's no confirmation of Zemo at all anywhere, the original D23 website, which has been changed since,
Oh.
the original D23 website for Thunderbolts was movie/D23 2022 Thunderbolts Zemo Yelena. So
Oh. He's probably in there then. They're probably saving
he's
him
probably
for
in the movie.
Yeah.
They just are like,
Good. The way it should be. And then Ironheart was discussed at D23. They also added officially Anthony Ramos as Parker Robbins, aka the Hood.
great.
I don't know who.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Then they didn't show anything or have anything new to announce, but the cast of Wakanda Forever was out there. Quantum Mania was out there. The Marvels were out there. D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox shared the stage. They talked a little bit about Daredevil Born Again, which is crazy because that's a thing that's like, there's been a bunch of just like, I don't want to say fan service, but it's fan service, right? Like the fact that that's coming back and they're giving him 18 episodes in the first season is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's crazy at all.
Well, that's because you're a
I gotta
fan.
say. No, not a fan. I think like they need to give like he's obviously put in his time.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like I think you should get 6 episodes if you're not to find character to like land with an audience. And
sure.
Charlie Cox came in like that entire team. You know, the actor that plays Foggy, Deborah Ann Wall, they came in and were the first Netflix show. and were lauded to the point that the rest of the shit got made. But they were the first like huge comic book TV show. Like, I don't
Right.
think he should have to like re-audition, if that makes sense. Like, no, he's done it. There was 3 successful seasons. Why should he have to come in and do a pilot season? You know, like
Yeah,
I think they should
that's
just
true.
get, and same thing with D'Onofrio. Like, I don't think they should have to, because if they want to, like I said, with Bernthal, if they want to throw him in and give him 18 episodes,
Now that
once
I'm
again,
on
right
board.
there, he proved it.
That I'm on board
He
for.
turned that shit, man. He sold it. I don't think he should have to like have a pilot to see if the character fits. And I'm not saying like Oscar Isaac isn't a great actor that deserves 18 episodes. Oscar Isaac is amazing, but we still need to see what Oscar Isaac is as Moon Knight.
Yeah, the
We
character
don't
wasn't
need
tested.
that
Yeah.
with Charlie Cox. We don't need that with John Bernthal. We know what they're like as their characters. Give them a full story arc, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I'm looking at this from the perspective of like a DM. Like, the first time you DM a season on something like Dimension 20, you're probably not going to get 18 episodes, because you have to have a chance to like find your feet in the dome, to like establish rapport with the audience. You know, you have to like build up to that level of trust, I guess. But
Sure.
if I was, like I said, a long-standing like DM that's DM'd in that space before, as that character before, like, I should get 18 episodes, if that makes sense. So like,
Yeah.
that's kind of my view. That's the kind of line I take with Daredevil. If they'd given him like a 6-episode essentially pilot, because that's what the first MCU shows were pilots.
Totally. Yeah.
They're like a proof of concept of like, this is what a Miss Marvel show could be. This is what a Captain America show could be. They just felt like an idea. They
Yeah.
didn't feel like fully fleshed out shows. I think She-Hulk is the first one that was like, this isn't a pilot. We've taken on.
doing
okay, that's
this.
different. That's gonna come in a She-Hulk section.
We'll
I'm
do
off
She-Hulk.
topic. I'm sorry.
We're jumping to She-Hulk after this. I have the biggest news that we've covered so far in our almost 2-hour episode so far. You guys ready? Finn Jones, the actor for the Iron Fist, has put out a statement.
I saw this.
Finn Jones says, and I quote, "I would love to continue playing the character. I think there's a lot of room for growth. Personally, where I would like to see the reintroduction of the character would be something like a Heroes for Hire TV series. I think that would be the most dynamic and fun way to reintroduce those characters. I loved working with Mike, and I love the on-screen chemistry between Danny and Luke. I think it's a really interesting creative place that the show could be taken in. I'd love to pick up that mantle again and keep moving this character forward and make the best possible Iron Fist there could be." Who prompted him for this?
I mean, I would love the best possible Iron Fist that we could get too. I don't
think it's Finn Jones. I'm gonna go on a
No.
limb there and say I don't think it's old Finn.
I've never seen Jesse be that savage.
Like, I agree with the man. I would love to see a great Iron Fist.
I feel like that was one of those things where his agent was like, "Finn, it's not gonna happen. Okay, it's not." And then he's like, "Well, I'm gonna put out a statement
He's
publicly.
like, I'm gonna
then.
will it into
I'm
existence.
gonna put it out there. I'm gonna help the fans leverage me back into this role because I think I could knock it out of the park." And then he put it out there, and people are just like, "Nah, I think we're good, man." Like,
Yeah. It's like what is it? The right of first refusal.
yeah,
You know, like in that way where
Yeah.
I think like now that he's put out there, I think that was probably his idea. Like, well, if I put out there that I want to play it,
yeah,
then Marvel has to address it if they don't cast me. Whereas if they just quietly recast me, no one will know whether or not I rejected it or what happened, because that's always the conversation is like, well, did they go to the actor and ask? And I think he wanted to put it out there like, I would
do
like
it.
to replay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like with all this Daredevil talk, he's probably sitting there like, well, if they're bringing back
Well, Charlie got it.
Charlie Cox,
Put me back there.
and I'm like, but that's Charlie fucking Cox.
sure.
So, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I
I
said,
feel bad for the
Daredevil-
guy. I saw that statement and I
Daredevil
just felt
paved
bad.
the way for everybody. like those other shows wouldn't have been made if Daredevil wasn't as crazy successful as it was,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
true.
like that's the part where I'm just like, you kind of already blew it. I'm sorry. It was cool to see. I think the other thing of this is everybody felt that way about Spider-Man,
Sure.
where it was like, oh, Andrew Garfield kind of got to like redeem himself. Is that the
But I don't
word? Like
think
redeem himself?
well, Andrew Garfield did have haters. That's true. Like a lot
Yeah,
of
he
people,
did.
he did.
100% he
Uh,
did.
yeah, a
People
lot of people
hated.
didn't
I
like him.
don't know if he specifically did, but people did not like those movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
They had issues with the films for sure.
And he even said like it was so cool to like get to like come back and be loved and get the Spider-Man experience that like everybody else got, because people loved
the
Tobey
joke in the
Maguire.
movie was that he wasn't like amazing. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah, he
they even
says
joked
it.
about it in the film that people hated it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, people hated those movies, people hated his villains, and that's why he in the entire film, he keeps cracking jokes like, "You fought this? I fought a guy in a rhino suit." Like, because
Yeah.
by that time, they didn't even have, like, good villains to pull from, like, I
Yeah.
think, like, after seeing him finally get, like, his flowers, and I think, like, there's other people that are like, "Well, I could come back and get my flowers," and I'm like, the thing for me is I think the world has moved on, because there's a lot of people now, and even in the comics now, people would much rather have like somebody from that part of the world
Totally,
that could
yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
conceivably be
they redid the
a
character.
monk.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
character these
So
days
like
is that.
his performance aside, like, because everyone knows I was not a fan of his performances, Andy Rand. What makes me feel bad for him is like, do you not realize the world has moved on? The actress who
Right.
plays, what's her name? Jessica,
Kristen Ritter?
no, who plays Colleen Wing.
Yeah, I forget her name.
I can't think of her name right now, but like, it's not even about whether or not
Henwick.
Henwick. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jessica Henwick. It's not even about whether or not he's a good actor. Like, Jessica Henwick would make more sense as the Iron Fist in 2022, because like
Totally.
things, man, like media moves at lightning pace, right? And things that were okay 10 years ago, 12 years ago, even 6 years ago are not okay now, right?
Yeah.
And this was just coming up because like apparently like a lot of like younger people on TikTok have come across movies like The Hangover and The Hangover 2, and are grappling with the fact that these are like huge movies that aired in theaters and they have the F slur in them as like a joke. And I'm like, yeah, like, because this like the F bomb, and I'm not talking about fuck, the other F bomb got thrown around all the time,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
You don't understand,
Sure.
like all the time. We
Totally.
didn't even call it a slur 10 years ago. And that's not me saying it wasn't. I'm just saying media changes at lightning pace, and
Yeah.
jokes that are okay in 8 years and 6 years, like things just move on, and then it's not even about cancel culture. It's considered passé, in poor taste, corny. It's dated, right?
Yeah.
And so like having this character that's like not even from that part of the world, who crash lands there and then like becomes their chosen one, it doesn't, like, it's not giving in 2022. Like, they've redone the character. Colleen Wing is a better choice
Yes.
for Iron Fist. And based off of what y'all have told me, because I didn't watch the rest of that show, that is where
That's where the show
series
ended.
ends, is
Yes.
with her as Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my question to Finn is like, why, like,
Well, he's
why can't
still
Jessica Henwick have this? Why the fuck do you even want it?
because he's still got chi powered bullets.
But like, it's like
So,
he
I know what
didn't
you're saying though. You're
specify
right.
He wants to play like it's, bro, it's over. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that character was gonna come back and they don't have it be Jessica Henwick, they're stupid. That is
Yes.
who it should be.
Yeah. It should be Jessica Henwick or a completely brand new Iron Fist.
Yeah.
One of the
Like,
two.
it just,
Not
yeah,
Finn Jones.
it doesn't make sense to just have, I don't know. Like, it's dated. His character, that show is the number one show that shows its age of those Netflix shows. Like, it just comes off as incredibly fucking dated.
Oh, totally.
All you need to know is that Iron Fist and Shang-Chi are like dudes and bros. And if you are going to have a show where Danny Rand is like, hold up, Shang-Chi, I think I know a little bit about Kung Fu, my man. Like, if you could just calm down, I think I understand a little bit better about the situation. Like, no way that flies today at all. It's not gonna happen.
Could you imagine?
Does Jessica Henwick know martial arts?
I don't. Maybe I don't know. I mean,
I'm curious what the difference in training was, because when I was
Maybe.
ranting and screaming about that show on this show, there was like a scene where they're both like kind of sparring and he's like correcting her, like bad form, but like she actually is performing better in that scene than he is.
Yeah.
Because he just did such a bad job. Such a
She was.
bad job.
I don't know if you
with
saw
the choreography.
I don't know if you
So I
saw
was,
the
like,
new
curious if
Matrix,
she
but
had
she was
training.
there. She was in that. She was good.
Oh, I'm like actually curious if anybody knows, let me know if she had formal training, because in her fight scenes, I feel like she did much better than in his fight scenes. But then the entire script is him like saying, not bad. And I'm like, honey, she is fucking running circles around you right now.
Yeah, they definitely
He is
improved the quality
lapping
of
you.
his.
Yeah.
Like, his martial art is better in the second season because they clearly had time to teach him something.
Yes.
But in the first season, it's very obvious the dude was not trained, period, and like is faking it till he makes it. And so, yeah, it does come off very weird. And again, it enforces that weird thing of like, sorry, I was trained in the mountains by like actual people, and whatever this is like, there's no way. I like would love it if, imagine the end of Shang-Chi if they're all fighting these like demons in this like magical world, and then like Danny Rand rolls in just like, hold on, I think I have a solution that can solve all this. Go powers! Like, that would be insane if that's how that worked out.
I
Like,
guys,
don't worry, everyone.
I think we
I
should
got
let
it.
Finn
JP.
back. I think we should let Finn come back
No,
in,
fuck
guys.
you.
I'm kind
Fuck you, dude. Hell no.
of gonna need to see this.
I'm getting spicy nostalgia of that fucking outro he made on the steps where he's like, we give oranges as a kiss.
Literally just like piles of oranges.
I wanted to peel my skin off. Like,
What
I was
if-
so,
what if he
you know,
just
like when you
comes back?
Cringe?
What if he
He's
just
like,
comes back
"Ugh."
and then he dies, like in the same episode? And then they have to find a new Iron Fist.
You know what? I am okay with him coming back as Iron Fist if it's a throwaway like multiverse joke. Like, remember when this was Iron, or in a different multiverse, this is Iron Fist.
It's
and
just
he
a
sucks.
She-Hulk goof, and they just like shit on Finn
Yes.
Jones.
Yes,
You know
yes,
what? You know what
you know?
the best version of this would have been. You know, the last scene of Shang-Chi and they're all sitting around the dinner table and they're retelling the story, and then the portal opens.
Yeah.
If after the portal closes, it cuts back to the two friends sitting there. If the waiter was Danny Rand and he's like, I know a few things about Kung Fu, that would be the funniest shit ever. And that's it. Cut
That's
to
it?
black.
Oh
Done.
God.
Like, I know a few things about that, and like that'd be
Man.
That would be
amazing. I'd be
so
like,
funny. That would be
Yeah.
so funny.
That'd be good.
But yeah, I just think the gall of being like, bring me back. And I'm like, didn't you already pass on your mantle? Like, what do you mean?
It
Why
was
would you come back?
it was definitely the type of thing where I saw that and I was like, who asked? Right? it was the first time I've ever thought that truly who asked, bro? No one like wants
with that
to
said,
come back and do
I
that.
would be fine if he came back with what's his face, the brother, and they did a show where none of them were Iron Fist. It was just like finger guns and his best friend.
He just
asshole.
has chi. He's just a chi bullet.
Yeah, like
Western
chi gun.
guy.
Yeah. It had nothing to do with that. It was like its own.
And it's
standalone-
Ward. Him and Ward just go like they're anti-hero
Yeah.
shit bags.
I would eat that up if it was like done.
That would be good,
You-
actually.
Sure.
Do you remember there was a time period in the like early 90s, mid 90s where after Xena and Hercules came out, they did several wacky shows, and they were all like, one show was Briscoe County Jr., one show, look that up if you don't remember that. One show was the one where it was like the dude who was like the American, I think it was called like Jack of All Trades or something. Like those shows that were like really like Cleopatra 25, all of those shows are just like really campy shit. If that's what they did, they went full camp and they were like, he's got chi blasters and his friend's an asshole and they go around solving crimes. That would be amazing.
I mean, we can use this to transition into She-Hulk, but to me, the most recent episode, I'm sorry you haven't watched it yet, Bronze. We'll probably spoiler it, but the most recent episode proved to me that like I like stupid / unimportant superheroes more than I do like actual superheroes.
I kind of agree.
Because you can have. I felt like I was watching an episode of like Angel or something. Like it was the puppet episode of Angel, and they were just like making fun of everything without making fun of anything at the same. Like it was so awesome to just see like Man Bull and Saracen, and Man Bull is a guy that just has horns, and he's fighting a guy who's like done some matadoring in high school or some shit like that.
I mean, he's like, I'm not a matador.
And then they go to like a canceled or a group council therapy session where the two of them are having a conversation about how they like are codependent on one another. And there's a guy named Porcupine who's just a dude in a porcupine suit who like never takes his suit off, and it just smells really bad. Like it was so ridiculous, and it was the best episode, one of the best episodes so far.
What I loved about the episode is the idea that it like took the goofiness of superheroes and was like, let's like have a real moment though. Like we're gonna surround ourselves with goofs,
totally,
but like let's have a real moment. Yeah,
it was a super heartfelt at its core, while also just making fun of everything, because you're at Abomination's retreat where he's like a counselor, and he's got like motivational posters where it's like one of them was like a bomb naste, which is like namaste, but
bomb naste. Yeah.
It's just up on the wall. You're like, God damn it, it's so stupid.
Like go in the yurt, find yourself. It was an episode that had zero forward momentum except for the very end.
Yes.
Other than that, it was like one of those things where it's like, we're gonna have fun for 30 minutes, enjoy. And I'm totally all right with that. I don't need everything to always be like, and this is how it connects back. It's like, look, she was just going through a thing, and then in the end it connected. And you're like, oh.
And to be honest, that's, to talk the show in a greater sense, like at large, and bring Bronze in the conversation, that whole show is just a palate cleanser for the MCU for me. Made me,
this show,
it's so good. I'm enjoying it so much. And I'm apparently alone in that, in terms of the greater internet, because a lot of people hate it.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of people do hate it. What's like upsetting to me about the show is that it like shows me what Miss Marvel could have been. It really does. Like, to me, they're idiots for not making this show. Like, they should have made this show. And because we've learned like powers, as we've discovered in this show, and I've been saying forever, superpowers are the least interesting thing about a character. It's a lot more than that. It's like their personality, their gravitas, like who they are outside of the suit, and their charisma outside of the suit is like what makes us invested in characters, even in comic books, right? So like Deadpool's regenerative factor or whatever is not that interesting. It's his writing and his jokes, and that has made him immortal in the comic books and now like in the movies too, right? Like that's what sells that. That you can have two characters that regenerate, like Deadpool and Wolverine, have them be completely different characters, right? So like in this, I do love that a lot of what her villain is her own like brain demons, her own mind demons, right?
Yeah, like normal human
episode,
shit.
Yeah, the wedding episode was one of my favorite episodes because she talks about what a lot of people struggle with, which is like, I don't know about y'all, but like sometimes weddings can be really depressing. They make you reflect on life. They make you reflect on where you're at,
Totally.
You have to like show up and be this best version of yourself. And like to see a superhero grapple with that, like I didn't think we were gonna get that in the MCU. But like when she says like, oh yeah, I felt like I was doing good, but then I just like come here and I don't feel like I'm doing good at all. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
You'll
god,
you'll love the
whole
most recent
fucking thing.
episode, Bronze, because they double
Yeah.
down on that, and she actually goes into therapy about that with like
Aw.
other like superheroes that are complete goofs, but
Mhm.
at the same time, exactly what Jesse was saying. It's like if you're caught in the right moment in your own life, it's an incredibly emotional episode of just watching people going through it. And it's
Yeah.
people going through it that are also like really ridiculous characters.
Mhm.
It's like it's a great uh, place, I think, for that to occur.
I think it's like content creators, we were probably always gonna like it because I think
Sure.
there's a level of, like, not to be self-absorbed, but there is a level of relatability there,
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
even, like, the part that got me was, like, her friends basically scrolling through Reddit on, like, all these threads about how much they fucking hate her.
Right.
Girl, I've been there, like, where you're excited to book a gig or you're excited to do something, and then, like, there's whole threads of people that fucking hate your guts, like, for no discernible reason, before you even have a chance to, like, win them over, and, like, seeing a superhero deal with that, and then having it happen in real life, like, on Twitter at the same time with people saying, "Fuck this bitch, this show fucking sucks." I was like, "Oh my god," like, it's like the show's, like, self-aware.
It's totally
Mhm.
self-aware, and they like it's crazy that each episode where they make references to the internet at large and how they're like having a conversation
It's
about
like
them.
exactly what the
It's
conversation
exactly
is.
what the conversation is, which shows me
Thumbnails
that like if they can
over
predict
her
it,
faces.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they can predict
Like,
it
when
that
they were
well, holy shit,
scrolling
man.
where, like, Hulk is king or whatever and, like, crossing out her face and putting targets on it, I was like, "Oh my god, did they add this and post and go on YouTube
It's
after the
wild.
first episode aired?" Like, and aren't those people embarrassed? I'm sorry, but, like, y'all got read to filth,
Yeah, I don't even know
right?
if they're still watching for sure, but it's
Got
very
fucking read
aware.
to filth because they knew this is how you were gonna act,
What
They knew this is how you were gonna act.
and they've done a great job, the writing team has, of hitting the beats that I think we called, like, when we saw the names of the episodes, it's very obvious. We were like, "Oh, there's 100% gonna be an episode where she has to come with the terms the fact that, like, everyone loves her, but only one half of her.
Yeah.
No one likes who she really is. No one everyone just wants She-Hulk." And I'm glad that this episode was that. This episode was her being like, "Everyone in my life likes She-Hulk and no one likes me." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Damn, let's go."
Yeah.
So I was glad that we got that because I knew it was gonna happen, and, like, here we are, and, I'm glad that again, this is one of those, now the main character has come to terms with who they are
Growth.
now story.
Growth arcs, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh, and then at the end of the episode, we get to see that story beat of like, oh, when she gets home, shit's gonna go down, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So,
Mhm.
I think
but
outside
also,
I
Madison.
think we're going the same place. Outside of all of that, Tatiana is an incredible actress. I think she's nailing the
Yeah.
role both in character. I think that we could spend 5 seconds on the CG. Some of it looks really bad. The wedding fight scene was like real bad. It was
when she was in
real
her
bad.
suit, I think like episode 3 or 4, that one suit that they had,
Yeah,
bad
it looks
bad
bad.
CG.
Looks
Yeah.
really bad. We'll all agree with that. But the side characters in this show and like they're all just incredibly well done. They get maybe like 5 minutes total on each episode, and they just
Blast.
crush those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's
Super fun.
awesome. I'm loving all the side
actually
characters.
is giving me Daredevil vibes in a good way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, where
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, like, she's not alone in the world. Like, they are also taking on cases. They also have their own, like, clients, like that
Yep.
episode with the shapeshifter, and, like, she's not in a vacuum, and so I like that. I like that it's, like, has this sort of, and coming into this, I don't know if you remember, JP, I was saying, like, I want, like, the Lincoln Lawyer with She-Hulk, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
kind
yeah, yeah.
of
We
what
kind of
I'm
got that a
getting,
little bit.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, like a little bit where it's like, oh yeah, there's multiple cases on the docket. Some of them are bigger cases, some of them are smaller cases. The other people in her office have their own cases. Their world does not revolve around her. And what happens when she gets in trouble? She needs a lawyer, and then who does she go to? Right? Like, it's really interesting to like that, because that's how you tell stories, is like by like small interactions interceded, over multiple episodes. And I think
Mhm.
once again, that's what was not landing with other shows where they've tried to have side characters and tried to make them work. And I'm like, giving them one monologue in episode 6 is not gonna make us be attached. Like, you need to give us, like,
Yeah.
what they're doing in the backdrop every single episode, even if it's for 15 seconds. That is gonna, I don't know, it's gonna inform us a lot more about that character. And I'm so impressed with the sheer number of characters
They're all
in
great.
She-Hulk.
They're all hits.
There's so many. There's
And
so many of
and
them.
and it's impressive too because some of them are just like Pug is such an incredibly subtle character, but he just
Mhm.
exudes like an empathetic, nice person in almost every situation that he's in. And then there's the complete opposite where Madison is like this extreme
I love
character
Madison.
that is
I love Madison.
incredible.
The
Like it,
internet was very divided on Madison.
oh my God. I thought it was like
I love
perfect.
Madison.
I thought everything, I still laughed to myself because you remember the exact phrase. That phrase is like so unforgettable that I was just
See-
saying it constantly to Erin as I was walking around who's not watching the show. She's like, what the
Mm.
fuck are you talking about? Like, why are you saying
look,
that nonstop?
I've never, in however many Marvel shows we've watched, I've never like cackled, like guffawed, like I did
Yeah,
the
dude.
moment she's like, I was in hell and I met this whatever she like Jake
He said, yeah,
like,
Jake
or
a
whatever,
monkey or an imp or something like that.
like the goat or whatever she's like.
Yeah.
And then the dude at the table was like, oh, I know that guy. That shit I laughed so hard.
The old guy, the lawyer,
I was like,
right?
that's a good joke.
Yeah, I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
The magician's lawyer.
and- Yeah, I will say that the thing that I think is interesting is that I've seen a lot of hot takes on Wong as a character, and they're like, Wong isn't serious anymore. And here's I just want to just put this out there. I know I'm gonna get some flack. I don't think Wong was ever serious. Wong was the side
No.
character in the first Doctor Strange movie, and his goof was that he was like,
He's a straight man.
but he also listened to Beyonce and was like a goofball, and he gets like a laugh moment at the end of the movie. And ever since then, he's been the side character, and he's like a
He's
goofy
changed,
guy.
yeah.
And then they promoted him because Doctor Strange was missing, and he became the Sorcerer Supreme. But he's still like a goofball, and I don't think he's changed at all. I think what you thought he was is different from what he is.
He still very much plays a straight man role, but he does it with like such a comedic level to it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
That
he's
it's
like
awesome.
he's a straight man.
Yeah.
But everything about him is comedy. But he plays it like, this is how I am, and this is how I talk, and this is. But he's like also sitting there like watching
Sopranos
TV shows with Madison, and it's doing it seriously, but it's crazy that the Sorcerer Supreme is watching trash TV. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that he's watching Sopranos while hanging out with a girl named Madison who's calling him Wongers the entire time. He's
Yeah.
like, fuck it.
and I'm
Let's
sorry,
go.
when he's like yak milk, she's like the acting in that. I don't care what anyone says. When she like does that weird look and she's like, "Do you have any yak milk?" Like that shit is grade A acting. That
It's
was
incredible.
so.
No,
I
it
was
was
like,
good. It was good.
Yeah.
I also think like you need range and dichotomy in order to like make a dynamic work.
Totally.
And I think like we can't imagine like Benedict Cumberbatch's Stephen Strange doing that. Like, could you imagine
Right.
him watching Sopranos even before
He'd
he
be
was
upset
like
with it.
a magician?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the way, he's a surgeon. He doesn't have time for this stupid shit. And that's the vibe he gives is like, so I think like Wong gives us, no, you can be the Sorcerer Supreme and chill the hell out. Like, this is because Stephen Strange has no work-life balance. Like, that's his entire character. And I think Wong is there to give us, like I said, a dichotomy of like, no, you can have a life and also be the Sorcerer Supreme. Stephen Strange chooses not to.
Right.
And, some of those themes are hit on in Multiverse of Madness. Like he gives up, he does not have a life outside of, before he didn't have a life outside of being a surgeon. We see that in the movies. He has a trouble keeping his relationship going because his entire life is his career.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. And then that's his whole life. And now he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, and yet it's still his whole life. And I like that we get this like juxtaposition of like, well, Wong has time for, friendships and all this stuff, and he's still keeping the cosmos in balance. Like, this
Mhm.
seems like it's a priority problem, not a, like, not something that comes with the job. So I thought that was really good. I love Wong, but I also
Yeah.
think like people just are very negatively polarized on stuff that they consider to be I do think some of it has to do with like if that was like it being a female character that's like a drunk party girl that is traditionally not a like positive stereotype. I think people feel like they can just shit on that by default, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
because some of this is like it's so deep rooted with like, I'm sorry, like a general hatred of women. Because every episode where they do anything that's just oh, She-Hulk's gonna twerk. People are just like, "Oh, trash. Oh, ugh,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" And like, "Oh, she's drunk. Oh, I hate Madison. Oh." And I'm like, is this your thing? Like, do you just sit
They're
here and fucking hate on women that probably wouldn't give you the time of day? Like
right.
women like shut the fuck up,
It's
dude. Like,
it's very much like the stereotypical roles that people will just hate on because
yeah.
of the roles, right? And I think I think the executive producer. I'm this has been repeated a billion times on the internet, but if you didn't know, I think her name is it's something Gal. She wrote the Pickle Rick episode
Mhm.
for Rick and Morty, and like for her to be at that helm, you start to realize. I hate to give credit to the Rick and Morty team in terms of like how good their writing is. I think the writing carries over and like she really just brings it through in every episode of She-Hulk, and
Mhm.
the writing is phenomenal. From like the side characters to the main characters to the like cohesive thread and everything. Like she knows exactly what she's doing and how to utilize that to enact exactly the response that she wants from the right people that she wants, and also from the wrong people.
The thing that is important about that is the writing in this show, while goofy and played for comedy, is done in a way that is like human beings talk like this to each other. And they have conversations like this. And the things that are being said are natural and not forced. And it's like these moments are real. And despite being goofy and silly, the things that are being talked about are relatable conversation topics.
Totally.
Unlike some of the previous shows where the writing has been about forwarding the plot without explanation, without like no one talks like this, like that kind of stuff. And I think this show and Miss Marvel back to back, you can see that like
A little whiplash.
the way Miss Marvel starts, there's something there, and then they're like, "Oh, but we got a story to tell," and they quickly start going through it as fast as possible. Meanwhile, this show is like, yeah, we're telling a story, but we are 7 episodes in, and the story is like we're just scratching the surface. She got her powers, and she's a lawyer, and she's dealing with the powers, and we'll get this story. Don't worry. And I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that.
Yep. Yep. I'm excited to. How many episodes do we have left? 3, 2, something like that. We're close.
Is it a 10 or 12?
I want to say it was 8, and I thought episode 6 is what aired last week. I'll wait for you to Google because I think. Oh, it's a 9.
7 was the wellness center, right?
Okay, so there's 2 more.
Is there only one episode left?
No, there's 2. It's 9
Really?
episodes. Chat's saying it's 9.
Okay.
So we got 2
Okay.
more. Yeah. So next week, I mean, they've been teasing it for a very long time. Next week's probably Daredevil, right? Like he's gonna show up. He's gonna come pick up his outfit for some reason.
Maybe?
I don't know how they're gonna interact unless it's totally just a takeaway. Or I guess no, maybe next week is Frogman, because Frogman hasn't showed up and we know he's in the show. So is Daredevil really the final episode?
I think so. I think so, dude.
I guess they could both be in the same episode, right? Like, why not? I'm just trying to think. I don't know how they're going to fit him in, to be honest, unless he's just like picking up his outfit. Which also, why is he getting that new outfit? I have so many questions about that stuff.
I
Because
must
he can't wear
say,
the red helmet anymore because
Because it's too well known. Oh, sure. Okay.
Bullseye, you know,
I hope that's
so
the
associated with villainy now, I think.
yeah. I hope that's the line. What were you gonna say, Jesse?
I went to go look up more information about the show and what's coming and stuff, but like I must say this is the inspiration for the show, and I feel like this nails it, but it's so crazy. The inspirations, 3 things they said, like when you pitch a thing, you're like, oh, it's like these 3 things.
Core tenets of the show. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what theirs were: Legally Blonde, Seinfeld, and The People versus O.J. Simpson.
I get all those except People versus O.J.
Oh, that
Simpson.
tracks.
Like a crime, a crime drama that's like well written and well acted.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sure.
Like,
Okay.
I find that very interesting. So it's very obvious they went for like irreverent comedy, but also like we're gonna
I get
have
Seinfeld
like a
in a big
story.
way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
The other
I
question.
guess it's just like kind of like I'm curious to hear y'all's perspective on this. Do you feel like this is like a chick flick? Do the jokes land with like like with you guys, or
Hmm.
do you feel like because even Elon Musk tweeted, "Oh, all the men in She-Hulk are stupid, brutes, and all the women are smart in this," which is completely factually incorrect.
Yeah.
But like,
Did you see
do you
Pug?
feel like the show is poking fun at you, like or
The
hates on men?
the last episode literally is 5 men
Yeah.
helping her get through her shit.
And also working through their own shit, if anything.
Yeah. It's literally like a group of dudes in touch with their emotions, helping her. Like, I don't think there's nothing about this that's offensive to me at all.
Mhm.
Yeah,
If
I haven't gotten
anything,
that.
yeah, if anything, I find it very funny the portrayal of like the dudes who would go on a date with She-Hulk. You know what I mean? Like that shit cracked me up. I was like, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
that would happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and other than that, like the only there's 3 other men on the show. There's the asshole lawyer guy, and that's a trope. There's always the asshole lawyer guy. There's the boss who seems like a cool dude, and then there's like their friend, the other lawyer guy who's like got the hookup. None of those are like, they're all exactly what you would need. It's like, of course there's the asshole, and of course there's like the bro friend, and of course there's the boss who's like, as long as it gets done, I don't give a shit. Like that's
I still swear, I think we nailed the boss is a scroll. 1000% that boss is a scroll. It's
that'd
gotta
be
be.
amazing.
He has to. It's 100%. He's like so far. He's so alien in just how he handles everything and discusses it.
Mhm.
But that also could just be their portrayal of like a super lawyer boss, right? Like maybe it's how they act.
And if anything,
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is that the way that they discuss She-Hulk versus Jen, in that like the one dude who like she hooks up with when they're at trial, he's like, look, I think the question was like when she presented as She-Hulk. He's like, yeah, like that was great, but then she was somebody different and I wasn't into that. Like, no offense, I wasn't into that. And I was like, that's a fascinating way to look at it. They didn't make him out to be like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He said, look, I was into She-Hulk, and then I woke up the next day and that wasn't She-Hulk. Like, no offense, I wasn't into that person. But like, if She-Hulk wants to go out again, sure. And that's like, it might not be the like cool thing to say, but like that's that guy. That's his vibe. And so like that
And I
didn't come
think
off to me
like
as like, what a piece of shit. Like it was like,
yeah.
He was honest. He was
I also
communicating.
think it's like kind of cool is that like it kind of hits on like how her identity struggles are going to be different than Bruce's, right?
yeah.
Because for Bruce, like people hate Hulk. For this character, for Jen, people love She-Hulk. And her being able to switch between both of them introduces a very interesting concept of like, well, if you could be Hulk all the time, or if you could be Jen all the time, like, or switch between them at will, like, what prevents you from staying in one form or another form, right?
Mm.
Like, so I think it shows like, okay, even though their struggles are different, their struggles are also still based in identity
Yeah.
because it's like because there's something Bruce said in the first episode that really stuck with me. He said something like, "Oh, like for him, the other guy always has like a hand on the wheel and he has a hand on the wheel. And he's like, but you like maintain your personality
You're the
like when
same
you're
person.
hulked out. Yeah. And what's
Mentally, at
funny is
least.
like, I think like what she's realizing is like, she is, but she isn't. Like that's not her, you know? Like it's has some of her personality traits, but like even if for her it's her, it's not how other people see her. And my favorite scene in the show was actually when she gets grabbed and she's like, "Oh my god." And then she's like, "Wait." 'Cause that is like who she fundamentally is and how she navigates the world has changed because she's She-Hulk. And they do it in a way that's funny because then she's like, she even mentions she's like, like I don't want to like what does she say? She's like, I can go home with my headphones on. I can walk
I
home
can
at
be
night with my headphones
carefree.
on and not
Yeah.
worry. Yeah, yeah. And her paralegal or her partner says something like, "Oh God, that's the dream." And I was like, that part to me was like so relatable because like her life is fundamentally changed and she keeps insisting, "Well, no, but like She-Hulk is like just it's still me, it's just a bigger, greener version of me." And then like, as she's navigating, she's like, "No, the way she interacts with the world is different." Because if that same scenario, if somebody had grabbed her prior to her being She-Hulk, you see what that would have been like for a second and your heart sinks. And then you realize like that's not what happens
Yeah.
because she's She-Hulk. I don't know if I'm being eloquent about it, but like
No,
it's a
I get what you're
different
saying.
take on the identity crisis that Bruce has because yeah, it's like kind of inverted or turned on its head that maybe it's like not a good thing that it's the same person versus
I
like,
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was this past episode or the one before it, but the moment where she has that revelation about um people seeing her differently and her being like, I'm just me, but when I become this like gorgeous supermodel green person, everyone treats me differently in my life. And that moment reminded me there was a Reddit post this dude made, and it was about how when he was in high school and a little bit of college, he was like he considered himself to be very ugly, right? And during college, he like grew, he had like a growth spurt, and he like started taking care of himself better. And he's like, after college, I became like pretty hot. And the way people treated me was so different that it became rather than be like, I'm gonna eat this up and be like a hot dude, he became like bitter. Because he's like, when I was me
Fuck these
for
people, yeah.
21 years of my life, everyone treated me like shit. And now I'm 25 and I'm hot and everyone's so nice to me. He's like, it makes me see everyone that I interact with differently.
Mhm.
And that's the kind of vibe I was getting from Jen, where until she went to this like retreat, she was having like everyone treats me terribly, and I finally met one guy who liked me for who I was, and that guy like ghosted.
Yeah.
So she's obsessed over it, and I think that thing is it's super interesting to have that in a character where she's just like, I'm me. The personality I am is both Jen and She-Hulk. You just like She-Hulk because she's hot.
Right. And
It's interesting.
I wonder also, Jesse, where that's gonna put her mentally in the next episode, because now it's not the guy didn't ghost her. The guy did some fucked up shit to her, right? So now is she just like not gonna trust people anymore whatsoever? I don't know.
It's a great question, especially when it comes to love and who she is. Like, and I think that makes for great complicated characters. It falls in that same category of like the reason why Batman's so much fun. Because that dude, he can't do normal. Like he can't do a normal life, right? And that's the same thing I think with Jen is starting to realize, and what Bruce tried to tell her is like, no matter what you think about who you are, you're done with normal life. It's over for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also like
Yeah.
how the show is like hyperbolic, and I think like that's not like that's what people are not understanding
Yeah.
about it. Like they're like, "Oh,
It's so
Madison is so
extreme.
fucking fine." I'm like, she's hyperbolic. Like even 'cause I had that moment where I was like, "Yo, we need to talk about Titania and the makeup looks because like what the fuck are they doing?" But then I was like, once again, hyperbolic. This is the Instagram influencer to the extreme. Who the hell would wear gold foil under their eyes on the daily? The She-Hulk version of an Instagram influencer
Yeah.
would do that because it's hyperbolic. It's supposed to be absolutely fucking ridiculous
Well,
because in a certain way, this is being narrated from Jen's point of view.
right. It's that episode in particular where she opens up her makeup line was like, it was hyperbolic, but it also was exactly how it is.
Yeah,
And a lot of like
The undercurrent is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's an undercurrent of truth, 100%. But, like, yeah, it's also just like, "Oh my god, this
Like,
character is, like, so
this
ridiculous."
happened. This is a real thing that like influencers have tried to do with this bullshit. And they
Mhm.
even they made fun of that, and like when Jen is reading off the different names of the serums or whatever. And I was like, it just shows that, again, the writing is incredible because it was exactly how it actually is in
That
real life.
plot was fantastic.
The
'Cause
what?
it actually the plot, like,
Oh yeah.
it made that interesting. Because I think that's such a great thing for, like, a minor villain in a court show. Instead of just going after her and punching her, she's like that's like some true supervillain shit of like, "I copywrote your name." It's like, "Ah, yay!" Like, it's, like, so modern. It's, like,
Yes.
such a modern fucking take, you know? And something that a minor villain would do, and then her trolling her at the wedding, I'm like, "This is villain shit." Like, this right here is real villain shit, you know? And she's, like, antagonizing her the entire time, like, "Oh, well, I'm a plus one," and da 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 da, and she's like, "No, she's just here to annoy me." It's like, "You're crazy, Jen." I'm like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, it's
she is
working.
a real villain." Like,
It's
if you just
working.
had her come up and punch her, it would have been really stupid.
Yeah.
I
Bronze,
love
can I
that, like,
turn
trolling
your
her.
question back on you really quick?
Yeah.
Because you asked
Mm.
about the men in the show. I'm
Mhm.
curious what your take is on the women in the show. Because there are a lot
Mhm.
of women that are like super catty in this show. And like all of her
Mhm.
old friends are like the fucking worst. I'm really
Mhm.
curious how I feel like you have no problem with it. It seems like they're just all characters, right? I don't know.
Yeah, because I understand it's hyperbolic. Like, do I some of those tropes are very tired tropes, right? Like, where it's like,
Sure.
"Oh, women are horrible to other women, and this is what a good woman looks like, and this is what a bad woman looks like," right?
Yeah.
And there's even, like, a lot of, like, hyper feminization, right? Like, this is what womanhood is, right? Like, you have to be into makeup, you have to be into heels, and if you're not worried about your clothing, you need to get yourself a girlfriend that is hunty, yes, slay. Like, there is a lot of that, which I'm like, I don't watch Real Housewives. This is not my bag. I am not one of those that's like, "Yes, girl," like, but I think that in some ways, the reason it's so hyperbolic is, like, it's trying to reclaim some of that, because even though those types of things are very well embraced and popular in mainstream media, right? Like, those same things have been largely rejected by the comic book fandom. So when you look at women in the MCU and in comic book stuff, they're the opposite of that, right?
Hmm.
They don't talk about shoes. They don't talk about, they're relatable, they're attainable, they're like down to earth, just one of the guys, you know, you would never see them, watching reality TV or twerking. And I think in a lot of ways, like what She-Hulk is trying to do is say, like, it's okay to also be that kind of woman. It's okay to be into clothing and gossip and, the stuff that is traditionally considered like girly shit. It's okay to be into that. And that doesn't make you a shitty person. That doesn't make you, and I think the reaction to it is proof that it is widely rejected by comic book nerds and like these are people that if you mention Kardashian, they like seize. They're like, "Oh my, they're disgusting." And it's like because they hate that version of them. There's probably something to be said there because a lot of people feel rejected by that stereotypical hot girl that's into clothes, into drinking, into going out to the clubs every night. But as we've seen, Madison is not a shitty person.
Mm-mm.
She's am I Madison? Hell no. Would I hang out with
You're a
Madison? I
Madison.
started the episode being like, "Absolutely not." By the end, I was like, "Maybe." You know?
You're a Madison.
Huh? I'm
You're
a
a Madison.
Madison?
No matter what you say, you're a Madison.
I d I can't
You were
drink at
definitely
all, and
Madison
I'm
at
not
my wedding. Let's be honest here, Bronze. I didn't notice your shoes, but
really?
you were Madison out of control, you know.
Jasmine with 2 N's and a Y, but it's not where you think.
It was that exact line, I think, where the writers took it from, to be honest. They saw the wedding video of you saying that.
I believe that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Oh my
it's true.
god.
It's true.
But like I said, I started out that episode thinking like, oh my god, I would never hang out with this woman, and ended it like, no, I probably would. I would hang out and watch Netflix with her. I wouldn't go to the clubs with her because I would die. Like she'd get me killed. I cannot stay up until 2 a.m. and I cannot drink the way she drinks. When she starts listing all the drinks, have you had like vodka, straight vodka? Have you had this? Have you had that? You've had vodka and yak's milk? Do you have yak's milk?
Yeah.
Try that. I was like, oh my god, this woman. Because I've hung out with Madisons before. I used to work at a salon, and they were all Madisons. I've never been that drunk in my life as with those girls. I shit you not. Because number one, dudes keep buying you rounds, and number two, they can put away a truly alarming amount of liquor. The Madisons of the world
Oh, yeah.
have built up
Yeah.
god tier tolerance to liquor, okay? And I had a friend like this, and I'll just say it ended with me laying in the dirt in the flower bed on outside my apartment. I couldn't make it up the stairs, and her sitting in the dirt next to me crying.
Nice.
So the Madisons of the world, I think like this show was like, oh, but they're not bad people, you know? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with what she's doing, and yet everybody has an opinion on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the show does the way that I look at all the characters in the show is I'm not laughing at the character or how the character is portraying themselves. I'm laughing at the situation that they're in. If that makes, like, they never like tried to make the characters out to be bad people. It's the situations that they're in that makes them funny or interesting or ridiculous.
Right.
And I think that's also cool. Like it's usually you just see them shit on a character and then they move on, right? And that's kind of how that's been. But I just now realized that they never really do that within the show. It's always the situation. Like with Mr. Invincible. Is it Mr. Invincible. Like he's a shitty person in a lot of ways, but his situation is what is shitty because he lives forever. And so you can somehow like relate to the idea that he just gets, Mr. Immortal. Sorry, not Invincible. Mr. Immortal. He like, you realize that his situation sucks because he's immortal and he just got tired of like, you kind of sympathize with it.
But he can't, he's the stereotypical guy that I think is very funny is that he can't break up with anyone.
Yeah,
so he has to come up with creative ways to leave relationships.
He hates conflicts. Yeah.
And
the way to get out of it
really
is
funny.
literally just to throw himself off
because he can, and that's hilarious. That's so funny.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
A lot of them
funny.
almost remind me of like D&D characters because that's like some shit somebody would do in a D&D game. It's like I throw myself out the window. You know, like I kind of love that about it, but I think like, I think there's a kind of a statement being made in a way that's like, you don't have to, especially because like after Yelena kind of shits on Black Widow a little bit with like the sexy, you know, posing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of a correction in the other way, even though I thought that joke was really funny. I liked it and I thought it landed. I think it's like, but what's so bad about that? Why can't we have a superhero in heels or a superhero that throws it back, that throws ass? Like, why is that so horrible when we have tons of guys in the MCU that are party animals, but all the women are like, and this is what I hate. This is my most hated writing trope. Like in some Final Fantasy games where the strong women are written as bitches, cold,
they're stoic and
Lightning was one that I struggled with because it's like, well, I'm the female protagonist and therefore this is my whole personality. I can't have fun. I can't drink. I have to keep everybody else in line. And I'm just a dick about it. And I get that that's like one type of writing, but I don't see why every female superhero has to fall into that of like, I can't have any personality because it's my job.
I've got to be serious. I'm a tough person. Yeah.
And the second thing I wanted to say was I feel like there's been this movement of like oh, female superheroes can't be sexy, you know? Like they change all the costumes, they change like everything about them because like it's like, oh, everything is about male gaze, male gaze, male gaze. But what I kind of like is that She-Hulk is hot because She-Hulk wants to be hot. That's what really connected with me about the comic book, if that makes sense. Like, and I'm not saying, oh, it wasn't made to appeal to men, but I love that her covers look like Sports Illustrated covers. As a bi woman, I definitely was like, I like this. I agree that not every superhero should be in a bikini, but like, I have covers of She-Hulk in, like, a mini dress, and I think some superheroes can be in that because there's nothing wrong with that. This is
Sure.
America, motherfucker,
Yeah.
and if our superheroes wanna be in mini skirts, they can be in mini skirts, and
Yeah.
if they wanna pose in swimsuits, they can, because that's the foundation this country was
Why do you
founded
have an
on.
American? Wait. Why do you have an American
A lot of
flag on your desk?
colonialism a lot of colonialism and hot
Jesus.
women wearing what they want, okay?
We didn't kill all those people so women couldn't wear what they want.
Let women wear what they want. Let them twerk. Let them throw ass. Because
When Megan
that's
Thee
why I
Stallion
pay my
twerks,
taxes. That's why
we
I pay
all
my
twerk.
taxes.
Chat, is it time to introduce Jesse and Bronze to my new favorite tool? I think it's time. We gotta hit that. Gotta.
Then I said, and I just want to see Megan Thee Stallion twerk that ass up on, and you keep
It's too loud. I can't do it. It's too loud. It's too loud. One thing I will say, since we haven't said very much negative about the show, where the fuck are the post-credit scenes? They stopped
yeah,
after
they're
like
there, and
3
they stopped.
episodes. They just
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah.
It's like every time I watch the episode, I'm excited. I've loved all the okay, there's done. I guess I'll maybe go watch Andor because it's promoting me to go watch it. What was that, Bronze?
I think they wanna, like, keep you guessing, which I kinda like.
I don't know. They took him out.
I guess.
I don't know.
I mean, sometimes she, like that one episode, she literally turned to camera and was like, I guess they'll do it in the post-credit scene. So, like, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I love that this show has, like is absolutely not formulaic in any way,
Every
shape, or
episode's
form.
different. They even went into the
Yeah.
wedding episode of like, guess it's gonna be a wedding episode crammed into one
Yeah.
week or
Yeah.
something.
Kinda dope in that sense. Like, I kinda
Yeah.
like that they change it up. You don't know if there's gonna be a post-credit scene, you don't know if there is gonna be a post-credit scene.
That's true.
You don't know if she's gonna be in court this time.
Yeah.
Like, the retreat episode sounds really fucking cool too. I'm excited to watch that and catch up. But, like,
It's good.
yeah,
Very good
I
episode.
kinda like have, like, no clue, like, what it's gonna be. And some episodes are, like, heavy on the lawyering. Other ones are heavy on, other stuff, and I kinda like how it all, like, ties together because even though the speed dating stuff I guess she's not technically speed dating, it's just like, a
It's on
montage or whatever.
Tinder. Yeah.
Yeah. You wonder like, "Oh, is this just, like, character building?" And then it actually ties into the plot, which I thought was, like, really smart. I was like, "Oh, they're very smart about how they're writing this," because they're developing her character and tying it back, like, bringing it back to the story. Even the asshole guy and, like, his court case and how that plays into, like, her testifying that
Oh,
he's a self-absorbed piece of shit. Like,
they do
all
it
of it,
even
like
more so than that. Like the people that attack her, Bronze in the alleyway, that guy's in the group therapy session.
Really?
He shows up
Yeah.
and it's like, remember this guy that attacked me? Why the fuck are you here? And they have a whole thing about it. And so like they're
Yeah.
not even like disregarding those characters. They're bringing
No, they
them
even
back.
have like an actual moment
Yeah.
where like, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating like take on the way to do a story like this, and I'm all for it. They're doing great.
So now as we're kind of wrapping up, I've got 2 questions for you about it. One, where does the show go in these final 2 episodes? And this might be kind of spoilery for you, Bronze, because of the most recent episode, I think was the last 5 minutes were pretty critical to the main plot.
They're trying to take her blood, right? And they're trying to create Hulks. Is that
They got her blood.
Yeah.
They got
get
her. They got it.
Okay.
And I think it's going to go to whatever the Reddit want to be in the show, because that's like a major thing within the comics that like people like the leader are a part of, and I don't know how that's going to tie into anything, if that's actually going to have any place in the show, or if it's just going to be kind of a goof and a wink and a nod. Yeah, intelligentsia. If that's going to be like a wink and a nod to the comics, or if that's actually going to be a proper group or situation,
Interesting.
or how it's going to go. I don't know. I don't know what the next two episodes, like what the final culmination is, because she still has her suit. We haven't seen like her suit debut, her comic suit debut or whatever it is, when it comes to her costume.
Yeah, it got made, so it's like
Designer
around.
guy.
Yeah, what was that, Bronze?
I love that guy.
Oh,
The
he's
designer
great.
guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome
I
character.
love the idea that there's like, because I love that this world acknowledges that there's a lot of superheroes. I think that's my
Right.
Yes.
favorite thing about this show
Makes
is
it
like this
normal.
is the first show to acknowledge like, well, which one are you? I've never heard it. Like when he's like, I've never heard of you. I was like, I love that.
Well, then
And,
her
like,
assistant's like, she's gonna be an Avenger because like her cousin is.
you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, I love that because like at this point, there's so freaking many in the MCU, and it's acknowledged that there are more that the MCU is not talking about, like, but they're there.
Right.
They always have been there. So
Yeah.
at that point, it's like this is the first show to be like, oh yeah, you do superhuman law. That makes sense. There's a lot of superhuman.
It normalizes
know?
it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes it seem
Yeah.
like it's an everyday thing, which is cool. Yeah. So any big guesses on where the show ends?
I mean, I would say
Do we
that the
see
show ends.
Do we see Hulk again? Let me ask you that. Does the Hulk come back with a kid from Sakaar? Or does she get a call like,
no,
I need you to come
no.
to
I
Sakaar
think
and like be my legal representation on this alien planet
If
or something for
anything,
custody of my kid?
If anything, the space storyline, I would love to see us be correct about the boss. I think that'd be fun. But I feel like he's off doing a thing, and that's how we're setting up like, oh, he's there. I think the big takeaway is going to be she's going to have a conversation in the last episode with Daredevil. And it's not going to be what we think. It's going to be like, you can be both a lawyer and a superhero. I've been doing it for years. Like that kind of thing.
Mm.
Where it's going to be, that's going to be the moral of it, is you can be what you want to be and still, and help, everyone, and also still be this person who like takes on baddies. And so, yeah, I think that's what's going to end up happening. That's going to be like the end of it. It's not going to be high stakes. It's not going to be crazy. It's just going to be like, this is what it is.
I think we're gonna see him one more time, the Hulk. And the reason I say that is like when she acknowledges how many cameos there are, she's like, listen, I know you guys are all excited to see Wong, but there's not gonna be a cameo in every episode. Oh, wait, except for the Hulk stuff. Whatever, it's still my show.
Yeah.
I think like to me that was like a nod just because of how great these writers are, that I think we are gonna see him again.
Sure.
And she'll probably like she'll probably even comment on it. Like I really do feel like she'll probably even comment on it. Like, since I know you all are wondering what the premise of the next Hulk movie is going to be, like I feel like that's going to be like, she's going to Deadpool it. Like I really do feel like at some point she's like, I'm sure you're wondering how this ties into everything else. Like, or, is this a setup for the next movie? Like I just feel like they're going to do that because it's tongue in cheek and it'll piss people off that are like, do you have to watch this so it's not integral to the MCU? I can feel it in my plums, man. She's gonna like say some shit that's like, yes, that'll have an impact in the MCU because they're like middle finger.
That would be awesome if that's how they do
lot of
the post credit
show.
scenes. Yeah, where
Yeah.
if she turns to the camera and be like, "Boom, take that, internet."
I really think she will because like the show has like taken so much of that head on. Like even, oh my god, I forgot about this when she's dating that guy, and he's like, so like, can your skin be pierced by adamantium? And she's like, or vibranium? She's like, I don't know. Do you have a piece of like? Tell me that's not some of the conversations you see on Twitter. That's like, okay, if She-Hulk got in a fight with Wolverine, who would win? And also, like, that's like, I was like, man, they're like cooking y'all. like literally, they have that guy who's like such an interesting specimen. How much can you lift? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
That's great.
Direct
Wow.
shot fired. And so I I even like their excessive commentary about the name She-Hulk. That happened on the internet. Like they predicted it. And
Oh
and
yeah.
like
And
conversations like
the courtroom,
She-Hulk.
it's like, how'd you come across the name She-Hulk? It's like, oh, they named you
Yeah.
that.
They have an entire thing talking about She-Hulk because so many comments on the internet were like, "Why can't they create new characters? Why is this just a female version of the Hulk?" Like, there were so many threads about it, and I'm like, if you actually read the comics or
Yeah.
watched the show, then you would know that she is her own character. But you haven't given her a chance.
Yeah.
But I saw so many threads like, "I'm just tired of them gender swapping characters." She is not a gender swapped Hulk. She has never been a gender swapped Hulk. Even if you're not a comic book fan, if you watch the show, you can see she's not a gender swapped Hulk. She is her own character. So like the way they tackle all this stuff head on, I think like because people are claiming the show doesn't go anywhere, it's not tied into the MCU in a major way. Nothing has happened in that show because I've seen some of these like very bad takes in my opinion. I have a feeling that they're going to do something at the end that's like how's like yeah, we are tied in. Fuck you.
I think it's gonna. I think we're gonna see Bruce Banner, and he's gonna be holding a green baby, and She-Hulk's gonna turn to the camera and be like, "Boom."
Baby?
I don't know.
You
His,
think baby.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be something like fucking crazy
A
like
green baby, you
Yeah.
know,
that. Yeah,
little Hulkling.
Green.
little Hulk kid, hulked out. Yeah, he brings back Scar. I don't know. I think it's gonna be some wild like that. I don't know. Something comparable to that.
Custody case.
Yeah, and they're gonna have a season 2 of She-Hulk is gonna be her representing her cousin for a custody case of his son. Who
the
fucking
hell?
knows? Who knows? The show's wild like that. That's what I like. I have no idea what it's gonna have in the final episode. The second question I had for you guys is, how do you get She-Hulk in any other part of the MCU without the like structure of the show and how it handles She-Hulk?
I don't think she'll be in any other part of the MCU.
Yeah, I don't think she
I think-
needs to.
You don't think
Yeah,
so?
I
You don't
think-
think she pop?
I think
Apart from like
She-Hulk
Deadpool,
is-
she'll probably pop up in Deadpool maybe, just because
I
they're
think
so similar.
She-Hulk, aside from being a character that shows up in other things as like a goof,
Mm.
she's not going to have a major role in. I think there's going to be a series like these people are the TV show people. Like, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Daredevil just popping up in other show or other movies. Daredevil's going to be the TV guy, and there's going to be a TV MCU, and they're the down to earth New York. We're all in New York trying to like do our thing MCU, except I guess she's in LA. But like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's going to be these different levels because there's too many at the movie level. There's too many, like Bronze was saying, like there's too many characters sometimes.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And it shows in the choreography, like, that they don't know what to do with them. Like, because there's some people that can take a punch from a robot, and there's some people who can't. And I think,
Yeah.
like, with Sam Wilson not having the super soldier serum, they were kind of quietly like I don't know how to describe it, like talking about like rescaling like who is gonna be his villain. Because like
Mm.
Captain Amer- like let's be real, he cannot hold a helicopter with one arm, you know that iconic scene. He can't do that. His arm would be ripped off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have super soldier serum. Like that was like a huge thread in that show was like what kind of story do you tell or what kind of hero are you if you have no super soldier serum? And then they kind of told it, right? So like I think like there needs to be a scaling of like expectations here. And like do we want to see Daredevil face off against I don't know, Kang.
Yeah.
I love Daredevil, but this is like that scene from The Boys where they have the Daredevil character and Homelander claps him on the ears and is like, "There you go." Like, and it's like so horrible to watch because you're like, "Oh my god!" But it's like even though that show pokes fun at a lot of things, you got to admit, like, it does kind of say, like, well, what would Daredevil be doing with a Superman level character, you know, or Thor level character? Like,
Yeah.
he would get killed, man. Like he's a normal human.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
And same and, like, it shows, like, with Hawkeye and stuff too, because like, you can tell sometimes, like, especially after the first Avengers movie, they don't know what to do with those characters. They're like,
Right.
"What do we have them do in this fight?" So they have them, like, running, like, randomly in the field or something because they, like
Or
it's
they
like,
give
"Well,
him
what
like
do
an
they"
assist shot or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have to be like, "Well, we haven't seen this person in, like, 8 minutes. I guess, like, let's have him toss the shield to back to Captain America or something, because it's not like they can punch Thanos, you know? So let's have him do this or and I don't know, like, that's just my opinion, because there's some characters that have been scaling up or powering up, and there's some that don't have those same avenues available to them.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
Thor is still on like as he is in the comics, he's just on a completely different level than 99% of the characters in the MCU, right? Uh, so I
He's
think,
leveled up a lot. It's
yeah,
funny to look back and remember that first showdown between Thor and Iron Man,
yep,
'cause, like,
great
we all
scene,
know
but it
amazing,
yeah,
but Thor now would have smoked Iron Man. And that's not me dissing Iron Man. Iron Man is my second favorite superhero, obviously Doctor Strange is my first. But, like, it's because he leveled up throughout his movies. He's not the Thor he was when he fought
sure,
Iron Man.
totally.
But now if that fight were to go down, we'd be laughing.
Oh,
We'd be like,
it'd be
"Really?
done so
Man in
fast.
this iron suit is whooping this dude's ass that can, like, wield thunder out of his fucking hands," and
Yeah,
like, no.
yeah, yeah.
I kinda feel the same with She-Hulk too, where I'm just like, she's great, but, like, she's not
I think she's pretty strong, but she hasn't like had a chance to really like. I don't think she knows how strong she is yet. The only person that's tested her is Hulk, right?
yeah.
She hasn't like apart from the goons in the alley. She doesn't like fight
Yeah, she's been
actively.
no.
That's fine.
And Titania.
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I,
she
I,
fights Titania and does, like, weird flying things.
yeah, and I forgot that scene happened because the CG was so bad. That was another
Look, we've
negative
been
point.
complaining about it for a while, and this show I think is a perfect example of like
Gotta not rush that shit, man.
sometimes the CG is fine, and sometimes it's so obviously bad you're just like, y'all, come on,
Yeah,
you're Disney,
it got rushed.
you have
so
money,
bad.
stop.
Did you see her body double reference?
I did. I saw that today. Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking huge. That's a big lady.
fucking huge. She is so tall.
Not
It almost
only is
made me
she
want to just do that.
well, not only is she tall, but she also has massive arms. Like her
Yeah,
arms are crazy long.
yeah,
Someone in my
yeah.
chat says she's apparently 6'5", like IRL. That's how she's big lady.
Tall.
Yeah,
6'5"? To me, that's tall.
she is.
Um,
I mean, that's my
but,
height.
like, I almost wonder, like, if that I don't know, I'm not a visual effects expert, but I almost wonder if that would have been better, and I know they used her for, like, reference and stuff like that, which is fine, but, like,
Yeah,
I'm curious, like, if they had just I don't know, like
Had an actor, like practical actor.
yeah.
I, I look. I think it just comes down to time and money, right? And like when it comes to the
Mm,
world of animation, you can have three things. You can have it look good, or sorry, there's three things, and you can only have two, and it's look good, cost a shit ton of money, and be fast. And you can only choose two of those things, and they chose be fast and probably cost a lot of money. They didn't pay enough money for it to also look good. Is the issue there?
yeah. I'm
Because
not gonna lie, it does take me out of the experience a lot.
yeah, well,
Like,
and
there's
it's
so
only in those scenes where there's combat, which makes a lot of sense why there's not that much combat, right? At least with
Right.
She-Hulk.
There's some other
I mean,
scenes too. Like the one that really
for
stuck
sure.
out to me is when Wong portals into that dude's office where he's like talking about how he wants to sue the shapeshifter or whatever. And then Wong portals in, and then she's like, I'm sorry, this is really important. I have to take this. That was the one scene where I was like, there's like a bit where she like walks out of the office and Wong goes behind her, and I was like, what is
Yeah,
happening? What
yeah,
is
When
going
she's
on
in her
here?
that gray suit that didn't fit her well, all of that CG when she's in the office that episode is
Ah,
atrocious. just
like,
like her
no,
arms don't look like they're attached to the body that she's moving with. It is crazy to me. But again, it doesn't come down like it comes down to the fact that this is like a Disney. They had a choice and they went with that because they were like, well, we're saving some cash. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We got 2 episodes left. We'll discuss episode 8 next week and also Werewolf by Night, which comes out the 7th this week,
Hell yeah.
which I think all 3 of us have no idea.
Halloween season, a very spooky episode of MCU Boo.
Yeah. There you go.
Ooh.
Wait, do we have an episode on what day is Halloween? Wow, Halloween is actually the 31st. You guys want to dress up? Do you want to dress up as an MCU
Marvel
character?
characters?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Marvel character?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
I'll do it.
I
I'm
gotta
curious
think.
what you guys now.
Yeah, let's not say who we're gonna be and just show up. In fact,
Okay, yeah.
on the 31st, we're all gonna black out our cameras. So we'll do a on-screen reveal
Oh wow.
to each other. I just gotta think about who I want to be.
Like half an hour late on that day though, because I'm gonna be flying in from I'm going to Universal Studios. So
Okay, we can probably just start at a later time. It's fine with me. I worry that Jesse's gonna outdo us both, Bronze. He's got those cosplay
What?
connections.
Are you saying that I have
Yeah.
the
like
money
you're
and nothing to spend it on except for this?
No, I just think you have cosplay connections. Is all.
my
Are you saying that I would spend?
AP is going to tack something together from bits and bobs ordered and bought from multiple places. Jesse is going to commission something for a large sum of money, and I am going to boldly try to sew my own garment, and it won't be finished from the waist down, and none of you will know that. That's my prediction. 'Cause I will have half.
I got to think about how I would. I'm probably gonna ask the wife for the help. I do have a ton of onesies. I've got a bunch of Kingdom Hearts stuff upstairs. Got a bunch of onesies of like Hulk and Thor and Iron Man that I've used in the past. I even have a Black Widow costume that I once wore on stream.
This man
Black
just
Widow
said,
would be amazing.
I
I have a bunch of onesies.
Oh, dude, the closet. My portion of the closet is just filled with onesies that I've used on stream. It's very odd. I don't go in there very often, but there's an entire. I would say. What was that?
it has. What are the specifics? It has to be an MCU character or just a Marvel character?
I think Marvel character's fine. What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It doesn't matter. As long as everyone can recognize what it is, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the most obscure shit ever, so you guys don't recognize it.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Jesse's gonna be Elsa Bloodstone.
I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell you what.
Probably.
You're not even gonna be prepared.
I mean, at the bare minimum, I could just go get some green paint and
Just paint yourself green. I mean,
paint
that's bare
myself
minimum.
green.
You're right.
Just
You're
like
right.
put that there.
Be Kamala's dad. Do the sherwani, the kurta pajama.
Bronze, that would get me canceled like a motherfucker. What do you? I can't
No,
do.
it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. Are you? Wait, man.
I
Americans
think
are so.
it would. I'm going to steer clear of the cancel world there.
You're not brown facing. You're doing a costume that a character wore. Like he was in costume.
Wait a minute. If I go green, am I green facing? Is that count?
Yes.
Oh God,
Yes.
I can't be
Offensive,
Hulk.
I don't like it.
I can't be the Hulk then. I can't green face.
Yeah.
Are we done? I have to go to the bathroom so badly.
I think
Are
we're
we
done. I think we're done.
Oh my god, I'm
been a long
dying
show.
over here.
It's been a long show. You had coffee right before the episode. That's right.
I know. It's been
Yeah.
long enough that I'm like, bro, help me out here.
I have enough Thanos gloves to where I can just put one on each hand. They're
You
going to
could
be
be
different.
Thanos.
They're going to be
I'm
different
purple.
sizes
Yeah.
though. Yeah. One will actually be too heavy for me to constantly use. I don't know. I got to remind myself. 31st, we'll do a Halloween episode. We might be a little bit late.
Down. This is important.
Yeah, 31st. Jesse's going to be eating.
This
Dude.
is no. This is the wrap it up. This is the let's go.
Oh,
Let's
I
go.
thought you were shoveling food.
No, I'm not shoveling anything. I have to pee so badly.
Jesse, do some shout outs. Then you can run and go use the rest of them if you'd like.
You're all amazing. Thank you for tuning in. We're back, and we'll see y'all next Monday. I'm doing stuff, but what does that matter? I will go pee now. You're the best.
Boom. There you go. Bronze, do some shout outs. What do you got going on?
Hi, hello. I'm that bronze girl. I've been streaming. I absolutely am in love with Dome Keeper. I also overhauled my backdrop, so come by and appreciate it sometime. I DM'd a one shot for Twitch. I think it was Rivals yesterday, but the audio's messed up, so don't bother checking out my VOD. But I'm sure there's somebody's VOD on the internet who is involved. That's probably better than mine. It wasn't my fault. It was Twitch's fault. I just want to put that out there. Disney Quest, which is my Kickstarter for an all South Asian D&D game, actual play, is almost at its first stretch goal. We're only a few thousand away, and we get to add a new player to the table. So check that out. I have a really cool tabletop RPG project coming up that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about yet. So we'll see. Are we? Wait, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. That's what I'm up to. Follow me everywhere.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. There's a Kickstarter, by the way. What do I backed this? I'm not saying I'm only saying this because I don't know what I got. I backed this at 100. What am I getting, Bronze, for $100 on the Desi Quest?
Oh, I think you get a producer credit, early access screening to the production, as well as a published thing I'm writing that's like got a bunch of monsters, an atlas of the world, a map. I think that's like all the stuff you get at the $100 level.
Wait, did I pledge without a reward? Oh shit. I think I pledged without a reward.
Jesse pledged to. Jesse was like, I'm gonna pledge where you have to shout me out.
That's what
I was like, listen, Jesse, I'll do it.
I don't know what I
yeah.
pledged. Oh, no. Mine was I'm gonna butcher this. The Matsya connection level selection name in the credits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't name the tiers. Sandeep did.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you can go check that out. It's on Kickstarter
for those with your names, guys.
Cool. I was gonna make new YouTube thumbnails with Jesse here, but he's gone. We'll do that next week. Chat, remind me at the beginning of the episode to make us have silly faces for YouTube thumbnails.
What if we all just took a bunch of them and sent them off to you, and then you just have a library of us making faces?
Don't tweet. Just tweet them at Reggie. I'll give you the account on Twitter, and that way you can just circumvent me having to download them and send them to him. We can just all tweet. We'll tweet Jesse tweet Reggie a bunch of random photos of ourselves.
Yeah,
that'd be great. All right, we're done. Thanks for watching MCU Crew. We'll be back next week. We'll talk She-Hulk episode 8 and Werewolf by Night and whatever else the MCU crew, or rather the MCU, drops in the world of news. So we're out here. Go get your Black Panther 2 tickets. They're on sale, and that comes out November 11th. So we're about little over 40 days for that. Should be exciting. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
So far out.
Yeah. We're out of here. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.